Happy Tuesday, folks, and welcome back to #AskGSM here today for September 23rd, 2025, episode 617 here today of the show. Hope you guys are doing well and enjoyed the weekend, survived the weekend of all the wrestling that we got between Wrestlepalooza and All Out on Saturday. I mentioned last week here on the show that I would not be around this past weekend, to watch either show. I would be away. I would not be at Wrestlepalooza. I would not be at All Out. We were at Universal Studios in Orlando. I have not been to Universal Studios in Orlando in like 25 fucking years. It's been a very long time. We specifically went, and I'll explain the full experience and the setup in a separate video coming up on Sunday, so keep an eye out for that. We were there for the Halloween Horror Nights, which I have kept an eye on in recent years, and that always intrigued me, specifically for the Wyatt Six Haunted House. It's called the WWE, The Horrors of the Wyatt Six. And Alexis really wanted to check it out. We actually first found out about it when we were live on this show back in late July. She wasn't on the show with me, but she was in the chat. I think Nick texted her. We were in a group chat together, and we found out at the same time. And we kind of found out at that exact moment that we were probably going to do it. And now we were just in Orlando at Disney a few months ago to go check out the Muppet ride for the last day of its its run before it got closed down. In Disneyland, also in Orlando. And we were leaving that day thinking, okay, like we're mapping out when we can go back to Disney, because at this point as an adult, I just love Disney even more now than I did when I was a kid. I did not think I'd be back in Orlando anytime soon. That was not the plan. That was not really what I wanted to do. But it was hard to pass up an opportunity to check out that haunted house from the Wyatt Six. Got a hookup from someone at Universal to check out Haunted House, the Halloween Horror Nights. I got a hookup for that and the express ticket, which was awesome. Massive deal. Saved us hundreds of dollars paying for that ticket, which was amazing. And we ended up having a great time. So my point is, I did not watch either show live. I had to catch up on both shows while we were, I watched the pre-show for All Out in the first match while we were at the hotel. The Halloween Horror Nights thing didn't start until like 7 o'clock p.m., but we left early to go to like the downtown Disney. It's called City Walk, like their version of downtown Disney there. So I watched part of All Out while we were at the hotel. I caught up on more of it while we were sitting down having ice cream, which was, and Alexis has a picture of it. I have my fucking iPad up, connected to the Universal local Wi-Fi, and while eating my ice cream, I caught up on the first couple of matches of All Out. And then Wrestlepalooza, I watched the rest of that show like the next morning, or like when we got back to the hotel late in the evening on Saturday night. We didn't get back until like 1:30 because the thing goes until like 2 o'clock in the morning. But I watched the rest of Wrestlepalooza, pretty much all of Wrestlepalooza while we got back to the hotel. And then All Out I watched more of. I had to do an article. I was up until 5 o'clock in the morning. We left at 10 o'clock in the morning, or I woke up at 10 o'clock in the morning, got a few hours of sleep. We checked out at 11, got to the airport for 12, flew out at 2, got back to Connecticut around 5. And actually, while we got back to Connecticut, when we got back to the airport here in CT, we actually ran into Devon Dudley. He was actually going the opposite way, going to his terminal, and I was wondering why the fuck Devon Dudley was in the airport here in Connecticut, of all places. And I thought it was a headquarters thing, and then I found out he was actually doing a signing here with Bubba Ray in Connecticut at Mohegan Sun, like a few hours earlier, and then he was flying out back home at that point. I just said hi real quick, and he said hi back, and that was about it. But imagine if that was Bubba Ray Dudley. You know, for all the shit that we talk about Bubba Ray Dudley here on the show and on WrestleRant Radio, when I talked to the guy, I interviewed him over Zoom earlier this year. He would have absolutely no recollection of me whatsoever. But how fucking funny would that be? I probably would not have said hi, because not just because of all the shit talk that I do about Bubba Ray Dudley, but, it just would have been, I at this point, I really just don't care to meet him again if I don't have to. But maybe I would have said, hey, is that Hannibal Lecter from LFG? You know, the guy that says he calls himself the Shepherd on that show? Anyway, what's going on, guys? Thank you for joining us here on this fine Tuesday morning, soon to be Tuesday afternoon. Hope you guys are doing well and enjoyed all the weekend of wrestling. Grunt, I saw you in the chat. I will address you a little bit later on, but he was actually at the show on Saturday. Not Wrestlepalooza, but at the better show. Spoiler alert, we'll talk about that. All Out in Toronto on Saturday afternoon. And he said he had a great time. So glad to hear about that. Speaking of Grunt, he actually recommended to me a few weeks ago on a WrestleRant ranks concept to do. He kind of pitched me an idea to rank all of Bryan Danielson's, I think, AEW pay-per-view matches or all of his AEW matches. I don't know. I wouldn't do all of Bryan Danielson's AEW matches. There's just too many. But I did rank all of Bryan Danielson's pay-per-view matches in AEW yesterday in an edition of WrestleRant Ranks. And shout out to Grunt because he was the one that gave me the idea. I saw that tierlistmaker.com had that list already available, so I did it on the show yesterday. So check that out if you haven't already. That is the latest episode of WrestleRant Ranks. And before we get going with your chats and comments and everyone joining us here, I do want to shout out the channel members, that being Alexis, Miss Maud Matthews, Dillon, DiGiacomo, Mrs. Renee, DJ Swerve1 at Swerve1 on IG, Daniel Malcolm at I'm Quarter on X, Mr. Marceau at RJ_Marceau on X, John Ritland, Real Honesty with John Ritland right here on YouTube, Richie right here on YouTube as well, Red Planet Wrestling, and Average Grunt at gruntwrestling.bluesky.social on Blue Sky. Thank you to our channel members. If you want to support the show, support the channel, you can do so by signing up for a $5 a month channel membership. You get certain videos early and ad-free. You get badges and emojis and the live chats, top billing on shows like #AskGSM and WrestleRant Radio. If you got something you want me and Mr. Marceau to talk about in either show, we could do so at the beginning of the live stream if you are a channel member, and so much more. So more information on that down below in the description box. And at the very least, if you want to support this show, just like the video and subscribe if you haven't already. And be sure to hit that notification bell to be notified every single time we go live here on the channel and every single time we upload new content. The next time we should be live, let's get through today first, but the next time we should be live is going to be on Thursday for WrestleRant Radio with Mr. Marceau, breaking down in more depth All Out, Wrestlepalooza, and all the latest news of the week. Talking about Crown Jewel and how I'm not really a fan of the concept. I kind of feel like it's a waste of time, and talking about Raw on Monday and everything else. So stay tuned for that coming up on Thursday. Not sure exactly what time yet, but just keep an eye out on Thursday morning, Thursday afternoon for the next episode of WrestleRant Radio with myself and Mr. Marceau. I think that's about it. If you want to send in a question to the show, I'll answer these scheduled questions later. But if you want to send in a question to the show ahead of time for me to answer on the show, regardless of whether you're tuning in live or not, you can tweet me on the Twitter machine at WrestleRant with the hashtag AskGSM. Find me on Facebook as well, facebook.com/graham.gsm.matthews. Drop a comment on the post. I usually put up on Tuesday nights, if not, or rather on Monday nights. I'm still in the habit of saying Tuesday nights, even though we've been on Tuesdays now with the show as opposed to Wednesdays all year. It's a habit I will just not break. I cannot shake it because we were on Wednesdays for like a decade. But anyway, I usually put up the post on Monday nights. There we go. I caught myself that time. Or you could drop the question or whatever that you have on the wall itself on the Facebook page. And last but certainly not least, drop your question down below in the comment section of this very video when we're done, finished being live and whatnot. And I'll include your question in next week's edition. So I want to welcome everyone that is joining us live or has joined us live so far here on the show. Great to see you all. That includes Johnny, who says that AEW won the weekend. All that was miles better than Wrestlepalooza. Johnny also said the fans should have chanted same old shit at Brock Lesnar. I was honestly kind of surprised. When I went to Raw last week in Springfield, I was very surprised. They said, fuck you, Lesnar. Because when Lesnar came back at SummerSlam when I was there, it was a massive pop, and a lot of people were just surprised. But I kind of figured this would be the same old run for Brock, where people kind of overlook the issues that he has. And honestly, some people might be aware of how problematic he's been in recent years, and that's why they're booing him. And honestly, some people may not even give a fuck about that, and they're just bored of Brock Lesnar. Because very rarely when Brock is a heel, do people actually boo him. Like, people like cheering Brock. And I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the lawsuit stuff that he's not named in, but still involved in to a certain degree. Or just the fact they're bored of him, which is, it's kind of been the same old thing with him since he's been back. I thought that segment on SmackDown last week was great, where he laid out Corey Graves. I thought that was really well done. But the match at Wrestlepalooza was indeed the same old shit. Johnny said, I would have put the first Anarchy match at Double or Nothing in the S+ tier for my Daniel Bryan AEW pay-per-view match in AEW yesterday on WrestleRant Ranks. But he asked, where would you rank Bryan versus Hangman and Bryan versus Omega in yesterday's video? It's a good question. So he's asking that because I did not put those in the list because they're not on pay-per-view. They were not pay-per-view matches. All of the Bryan and Hangman matches, their first few matches for the AEW World Championship in late 2021, early 2022 were on Dynamite. They had another match, I think later that year on Dynamite as part of like the Tournament of Champions or whatever it was that I think Hangman finally won. And then they had a fourth match. They may have had five, but I know they at least had four because they faced off last year in the Owen Hart Cup, and that match was won by Bryan. It wasn't in the finals, or it actually may have been. That may have been the finals of the tournament. It wasn't on pay-per-view, though. But anyway, I would put probably all of those matches. I don't know what matches for Bryan and Hangman you were talking about specifically. I don't know if I would put every Bryan and Hangman match in S plus tier, but they would all be in at least S, if not S plus. I thought the Bryan and Hangman matches were all excellent, and I think their second one in particular on the first Dynamite of 2022 was phenomenal. So I'd probably put that in S plus. Bryan and Omega, I would also put in S plus. That is going to go down, and there's been a lot of great ones since then. But I mean, to say it's one of the best AEW matches is kind of tough. I mean, I have said that before, but there's also been so many more great ones since then. That being said, I would still put it in S+. I would still say it's one of the best Dynamite matches. One of the best AEW matches, period, in the last 6 years. But on Dynamite specifically, you would be hard-pressed to find some better matches on Dynamite than that one, than Bryan and Omega. So I would certainly say those were in S+ tier. Fernando also joining us, saying, Buenos Dias, WrestleRant. He said AEW totally won the weekend. Floppalooza sucked, bottom line, he said. He also said Io Sky versus Stephanie saved Floppapalooza from being the worst PLE of 2025. You know, that's a good question. I actually just did an article a couple of weeks ago. I'm just responding to a text, sorry. I did an article a couple of weeks ago ranking every PLE so far in 2025 for WWE. And I forgot which one I said was the worst. It wasn't Night of Champions. I don't remember which one it was. I don't think I would say Wrestlepalooza was the worst, because I can't say Wrestlepalooza was the worst with that Stephanie and Io match and then the mixed tag team match. Had it not been for those matches, it probably would have been the weakest show of the year. It was weaker than Clash in Paris, I thought. What else? I think Clash in Paris was better. SummerSlam was better. Mania was one of the weaker shows of the year because it was a mixed bag for some pretty, like, what the fuck are we doing here type moments. I still think Wrestlepalooza was a better show than that. I don't know. I'm not sure. I think Mania might have been better overall. I forgot which one I said was the worst. It wasn't Mania. Elimination Chamber I still think is probably among the best of the year, if not the best. It wasn't Money in the Bank. I enjoyed Backlash. It might have been Night of Champions. Evolution is probably the pay-per-view of the year. Yeah, honestly, like, for as inconsistent as the WWE television product has been so far in 2025, a lot of their pay-per-views, at least in my opinion, have been good to great. None of them have been just bad. Like, Night of Champions was at least solid. It wasn't a terrible show. It was probably the weakest. I think Wrestlepalooza was a better show than that, at least in my opinion. Maria also joining us, saying All Out was definitely better than Palooza. I think that's a pretty, that's the general consensus, it seems. Fernando also said earlier, Io Sky, or no, I read that one already. He said, if the year ended today, what is your match of the year and who is your wrestler of the year? That's a great question. If the year was only 9 months and we did not have 3 months left, my match of the year, it would probably be something from AEW. WWE's had a lot of great matches. That but Rhea and Io had an amazing match on Evolution. That would be up in that conversation. I thought Cena and Rhodes from SummerSlam was excellent. I thought honestly, my favorite match of the year, not best, my favorite match of the year was the first TLC match from SmackDown right after WrestleMania. My favorite WWE match of the year. For AEW, it's either Moxley and Hangman, because it was a great match, but it also tied together a lot of storyline elements that had been building for a long time. So the main event of All In, I think people would still say that other matches are better, but again, just the story to me is so important. That match, I would say, Tony and Mercedes also had an excellent match on that show. I really, really liked Hangman and Will Ospreay. That to me is one of the best pay-per-view matches ever for AEW. So it's either Hangman and Moxley or Hangman and Ospreay. Hangman and Fletcher also had a great match on Saturday. I don't know if I'd put it in like the best matches of the year category, but it was an excellent match. So yeah, I would probably go Hangman Moxley? ? I just thought that match was really, really well done. It was basically their version of Cody and Roman, which I thought was the match of the year last year overall in wrestling. So I'd probably go with that so far in 2025. I'm sure there's other matches I'm forgetting, but those are the ones that really stand out. I also thought Fletcher and Ospreay inside of a steel cage from Revolution was an excellent match as well. Let's see. Maria said, Palooza felt like a glorified SmackDown show on the USA Network. Fernando said, they gave us the exact same Cena versus Brock match that we got at SummerSlam when Brock beat Cena for the WWE title. We did. It was actually worse, though. That match was different because no one saw it coming. Cena was a lot more unstoppable back then. It was just a different time, and Brock had a lot more momentum coming off the streak being broken at WrestleMania. This was not that circumstance. This was a lot worse because this match was so heavily hyped in advance, and that was a pay-per-view main event. This wasn't, but it was a weaker version of that. I think that match was longer too. It was just that was way better. That was way better executed, with Brock dominating most of it. He dominated most of this match too, but they're also 10 years older. It's not the same. The match that we got on Saturday was significantly weaker. Daniel joining us, Richie joining us, Grunt joining us. What's going on, guys? Hope you're all doing well. We got all the channel members in the chat. Great to see you guys with a little WrestleRant belt badge right next to your name. Great to see you all here in the chat. Daniel said ESPN gave last night's Raw an F. Okay, so I did see the discourse yesterday over Wrestlepalooza getting a C from ESPN, or it was something along those lines. Now, that's not necessarily inaccurate. That I would probably agree. Wrestlepalooza, I would probably go C+. Again, like I said, I thought Stephanie and Io was a great match. I really enjoyed the mixed tag team match as well. The rest of the show was kind of but it wasn't like bad. Cena and Brock was kind of garbage. The rest of the matches were decent. I would probably go C+. B- might be a little high. I would probably go C+. So the fact they gave the show a C is, I can understand that. And people were like, oh, how could ESPN give their own show a C? It's not the same people. Like, people say the fucking website gave the show a C. I mean, technically they did, but it's one person who writes for the website. Honestly, it's no different than when the AEW pay-per-views were on Bleacher Report Live, whatever, and people like me and other people that work on my team, we were, not shitting on the shows. I mean, if the shows were great, we would say the shows were great. But I don't do the grades, but there are other people who do the grades on BR, and we would say certain shows sucked. And we're not going to not say they suck just because they're on the same platform. Like, I mean, we're not going to, disparage the company or Tony Khan and stuff like that. But at the same time, like, if the show wasn't good, we'll say the show wasn't good. And ESPN's no different. I mean, the guy who's been doing that at ESPN, I mean, I haven't met him personally, but I know he's been doing this for a very long time with ESPN and other outlets. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, people kind of blew it up over nothing. It's not like the people who paid all the money for that deal for WWE to be on ESPN are making the grades for these shows, or like internally they thought the show sucked. It was just one writer's opinion. And he's honestly not really wrong in his opinion. Now, that being said, if it's the same guy, for him to say Raw was an F, that is just stupid. I'm sorry. That show I thought was good last night. There is no conceivable way that show last night, a C maybe I can understand. An F, that's to say the show was a failure. It sucked. It was terrible. You cannot tell me that show was an F for that opening segment that I thought was great, and the Rhea Asuka match that was also quite good. It was a very strong main event with a very well-done heel turn from Asuka afterward. And even the stuff in the middle was largely different, or was largely solid. It was largely, decent to good or whatever. That was not a terrible show last night. I honestly thought it was a pretty good show. It was actually better than Wrestlepalooza. You can't say that show was worse than Wrestlepalooza. Wrestlepalooza was a significantly weaker show. So again, it's only one person's opinion. So I wouldn't really get too wrapped up on it. It's the same thing with Meltzer or me. I'm not in the same conversation as these people, but I'm just saying it's one person's opinion. It's not fact. I agree with him sometimes, and I disagree with him other times. I don't think that show last night was an F, but that's just one person's opinion, so it is what it is. AJ, what's going on? He said, Wrestlepalooza. Well done. Richie said, thoughts on the Lesnar squash over Cena indicating a potential push for Brock to win the Rumble in Saudi or a possible last title reign. Or was that done just for an ESPN Sports Center replay? I have no idea why that was done. Honestly, Brock winning, I don't really care. I'm going to be perfectly honest. I'm not even saying I wanted Brock to win. I would have preferred Cena to win. Brock winning didn't really bother me. I think I picked Brock to win in the predictions last week with RJ. So, I mean, it's not that just because I thought it would happen doesn't necessarily mean I wanted it to happen. But it didn't really shock me. It was just more so the execution of the match. They tried to recreate the magic of their SummerSlam 2014 match. It did not work. It did not work. The SummerSlam formula was much better, much stronger, much fresher than what we got on Saturday. Thank God for the New Day. No, I'm kidding. Thank God that match did not main event that pay-per-view on Saturday night. That would have been a fucking disaster. That would have been much worse. That would have been a terrible way to close that show. I don't know what the plan is. Honestly, I am convinced there is no plan. I am convinced they have no idea what they're doing. I saw the report from Bodyslam.net that Cena was supposed to win earlier in the day, but then Brock was switched to win. Honestly, that shit probably happens way more than we're even aware of, and only that instance was reported. We've heard about that stuff happening before. But it's not just a Vince thing. I mean, they change plans for who's going to win the day of constantly. I mean, that's just how this works. With that match, like I said, I'm going to be honest. I feel like the outcome was irrelevant. Cena's retiring. Brock, I really don't give a fuck if he wins or loses at this point. I just don't really see what Brock adds to the product. I like Brock Lesnar as a performer. It's good to have him around, but only when he's not when he's not phoning it in, which is very rare that he's not phoning it in. It didn't feel like he was phoning it in when he first came back in 2021. It was fresh. He kind of had the Viking look going on. He had that great storyline going on with Roman and Heyman and whatnot. But for the last few years, even before he left in 2023, he was fucking phoning it in. The matches with Cody were very good. The last match they had was great. The feud itself sucked. There was no reason for the feud other than keeping Cody busy. Brock was clearly phoning it in with the same old attacks, and maybe the creative team is also phoning it in with Brock, like the booking of him. I think it goes both ways, but it just screams laziness. What we got on Saturday, what we got going into Saturday, aside from that one SmackDown segment last Friday, was fucking lazy. And quite honestly, there's nothing going forward that intrigues me about, like, oh yeah, Brock got this dominant win, let's set him up for something huge. We don't even know when Brock's going to be back. Will he be at Crown Jewel, Survivor Series, the Rumble? Probably. We don't know. He might be gone until the Rumble in another 3-4 months from now. We just have no idea. That would actually be 4 months from now. 3 months would be the end of the year, and Rumble's in 4 months. I think it's at the end of, I think it's January 31st. They confirmed. I fucking hope. I mean, I was joking with Daniel over text yesterday that, like, the prices for the Mania seats came out for Mania 42. And, I mean, these prices are just wild, man. I think what's even stupider than the prices themselves are the people paying these prices to sit in these seats, to watch, and I joked to Daniel, people paying to see Brock Lesnar win a fucking world championship again in 2026, not even 2025, in 2026. There is zero reason for Brock to be anywhere near a world championship again. Challenging for it, maybe. Winning it, absolutely fucking not. I mean, Brock has not had a great title reign in a very long time. He's not active on the shows. He hardly shows up. He's not wrestling on TV. He barely wrestles on the B pay-per-views. They were lucky they got him for Wrestlepalooza. He might not even be back again until the Rumble. There is no reason. With the roster that WWE has and all the options they have of people to put the belts on and the people that have yet to get a run with a championship like a Owens or a Zayn or a Knight and people like that, people that should get the belt back, there is -0 reason, if that's even an answer, to put the belt back on Brock. Ever. Not even anytime soon. Ever. I'm serious. And also just with how stagnant it's been, like, what would feel fresh about that? He won the championship a few times when he came back the last time in 2021. And those reigns fucking sucked. They only did that so they could do the Roman Reigns match at WrestleMania. Like, he won it and then he lost it a few weeks later. Then he won another belt a few weeks after that and lost it at Mania. It was fucking terrible. There was no reason for it at all. So no, I hope they just move on. I hope they just move on and they don't go back to Cena and Brock. I hope they don't put the belt on Brock or push him towards championship contention. Because what would that even look like? What would the match at Mania even look like? Brock winning a third fucking Rumble? Like, the fact he even won a second Rumble was bad. Him winning a third Rumble would be egregious. I mean, Saudi would probably lap it up. I mean, that's probably why they would do it, because they know they wouldn't revolt or anything. What does that even look like? Him facing Cody again? Been there, done that. They did that 3 times. Cody won decisively. We never need to see that again. Him and Rollins, we've seen that a million times. We don't need to see that again. Him and Roman, God forbid, hopefully fucking not. Honestly, the only match that would intrigue me is if Punk won the world championship and he defended against Brock, but I don't want Brock beating Punk. Punk already lost to Brock 12, 13 years ago. If he avenges the loss to Brock, then maybe, but the match also would not be as good as it was in 2013 because they're a lot older, I think. I know they're a lot older, but I just don't think the match would be as good. There's just not a whole lot of matches with Brock at this point that really intrigue me. Brock and Gunther, maybe Brock, and Jacob Fatu. Yeah, honestly, I'm fine with Brock beating Cena if he doesn't beat these other people. Him beating Gunther or Fatu or a Punk, I mean, Punk's established, but Fatu or Gunther would just be fucking dumb. He should not be beating these people that have potential. He hasn't yet, so it's really hard to complain about something we haven't seen yet. But I'm just saying, I'm okay with him beating the Cenas and people like that who don't really have anything to lose at this point, as long as Brock's not winning a title. I can't emphasize that enough. Let's see. Eric said, Eric, what's going on? Thanks for joining. He said, Jamie should win the Owen next year. I would love to see it. I don't know what they're doing with Jamie Hayter. She was in that four-way at the pay-per-view. I'm not even really sure why, in retrospect, that match was a four-way, because Chris Statlander pinned Tony for the title, so at that point, just do a fucking singles match, but it was a good match. I thought Jamie might be the one to take the title off of Tony Storm. Evidently not. I'm happy that it was Statlander. We've never seen Statlander as the AEW Women's World Champion. TBS Champion, yes. Women's World Champion, no. And she deserved it, and she's very good. So I'm fine with that. But it just feels like Jamie, between her passport issues and her injuries and all this other stuff, and them just not having any real plans for her, she's just had her momentum interrupted time and time again. So I would love if she won the Owen next year. I was hoping she would win it this year, and she didn't. But next year, perhaps. The Wyatt 6, it wasn't a ride. It was a walkthrough. It was a haunted house walkthrough. It was fucking awesome. You can watch videos on it on YouTube. Just, check out the walkthrough of the thing. It is very cool, and even the videos don't do it justice. I mean, first of all, it was scary. I'm a wuss, but I mean, it was definitely scary. A lot of jump scares. But there are so many Easter eggs, like Wyatt-related Easter eggs, WWE-related Easter eggs. I think if you're a non-wrestling fan, you'll also enjoy it. We are all wrestling fans here, obviously, so you would love it. But I think you'll appreciate it more if you know the back history and the context and, understand the Easter eggs and what you're looking for and shit like that. So anyway, I thought it was awesome. It was very, very cool. I'm honestly kind of sad they're going to have to tear it down as they do all the other haunted houses to make room for the next haunted houses next year. But it was really, really fucking cool. And I cannot recommend it enough. I will talk more about it in a video coming up on Sunday, probably reviewing our experience at the entire Halloween Horror Nights, and just the WWE Wyatt 6 haunted house specifically. It was my first time at one of those things. We've never gone to Halloween Horror Nights before. We only went for the Wyatt thing, but we checked out some of the other haunted houses that were also a lot of fun, and it was very cool. It was very cool. Eric said, is Devon training? Training, I don't know, but he is going to be wrestling in Bound for Glory in a few weeks, so I would hope he's in ring shape, or at least in semi-decent shape. I think they're having like a TLC or a Full Metal Mayhem match or fucking something. I don't know. They're doing something at Bound for Glory, so hopefully he is, and he's ready to go come Bound for Glory in a few weeks. Fernando said he lives in Orlando. He said he got sick of going to Horror Nights. I used to go every year. Well, you should go this year. I think this year, I have not been to any other installment of Horror Nights, but from what I understand, and in my own opinion, this is one of the best ones they've ever done. Like I said, I haven't been to the other ones, but I think the IPs that they chose to build off of this year were really good. So they have 5 original haunted houses and then 5 built off of IPs. The WWE one, the Jason one was fucking awesome. That one scared me shitless. I was so scared in that one. I was screaming at things that were just like regular people and not even like scare actors. I was screaming at like attendants that I was just startled by because I was so on edge. But that was a great haunted house. Annoyingly so, but like in a good way. Terrifier, that was a popular one. We did Fallout and Five Nights at Freddy's. Those were all very cool. We did not do Terrifier. Art the Clown freaks me the fuck out. He is gross. We did pass by him walking through just the regular area, and he honked a horn in my face, and I screamed. I don't know why. I was so on edge. But that was fun. It was a very fun time, so I would recommend going. Yeah, I agree, Daniel. I said, glad you ran into the likable Dudley. I've always liked Devon. I liked Bubba, too, until he started acting like a dick. I mean, I guess he's always been a bit of a dick, but I am a Devon fan. I've actually met Devon before, and he was very cool, and I met him a number of years ago. Let me backtrack a little bit here. Let's see. Hold on. Richie said, Graham, I'm going to make us both shirts that say Bubba sucks eggs. And I still, of course, need to get you those ROMs off the old SVR games so you can stream those for the channel off of your PC. I haven't forgotten. Well, thank you, Richie. I appreciate that. That would be great. Like I said, I've been getting more of a, itch with those SVR games. I've been getting the itch to play those games again, specifically GM mode. If you were able to do that, if you could get the ROMs of the old SVR games, specifically SVR 07, 08 and 06 are good. I think 07 is the best one of those three, in my opinion. Better roster, better GM mode. I just enjoy that game more. Although I grew up on SVR 08 specifically. That was the first wrestling game I technically owned. That would be awesome. Honestly, we could have a lot of fun with. I would ditch 2K25 and I'm fucking split second if I could do SVR 07 GM mode here on the channel and stream those for you guys. And we could all play along and book the matches together and shit like that. So that would be great if you are able to do that at some point. Eric said, where do you rank Batista in all-time rank? I say top 20. That's so difficult. I have no idea. Batista, would he definitely be top 20? I mean, there's so many people you have to consider from all eras. I don't think he makes the top 20. Top 25, maybe. I mean, I'm not going to go through the top 20 right now, but, like, you have to include Hogan, Savage. I mean, you know what? I'll tell you right now where I would rank him, because we did an article on Bleacher Report last year ranking, I think, the top 50 WWE superstars or wrestlers, whatever, of all time. So I have my list. I mean, you could look up the overall list, but I also did. They merged all of our lists together and took like the average of each person, whatever, based on points and stuff. I could tell you exactly where we put him. Let me see. This was in March. I have to find the article. Hold on. Give me a sec. I could tell you exactly where I ranked him. Boop. Was this last year that we did it? I'm pretty sure we did it last year. All right, hold on. I'm trying to find the article, or I'm trying to find my list on my computer, so just give me a second before we get going here. All right, 50 greatest wrestlers of all time. Rankings. All right, give me a sec. So I had wow. Okay, so I do have Batista on here. I was right. I'm glad I went with my instinct. I said, what did I just say to you? I said I would not put him in the top 20. I would put him in the top 25 maybe, but not the top 20. Sure enough, in my list that I made a year and a half ago, I put Batista at 24. He did make the top 25, but he's at 24. You know what? Fuck it. I'll read you off my entire top 25 here real quickly. Here's my top 25. Well, we did 50, but I'll just give you the top 25. This includes women as well. I don't think I had any women in the 25. I did have women after 25. I don't think I had any women in the 25. But my top 25 WWE wrestlers of all time, and not just like in-ring, but like overall package and stuff. 25, Daniel Bryan. 24, Batista. Rollins did not make the 25. He was 26. But I have Daniel Bryan at 25, Batista at 24, Roddy Piper 23, Mankind/Mick Foley 22, Chris Jericho at 21. Only WWE here. Oh, no, I take that back. I do have a woman in the top 20. And that's Charlotte Flair. Wow, I put Becky Lynch at 30. Interesting. And I think Becky Lynch is the greatest female performer they've ever had. I don't know why I put Charlotte at 20 and then Becky so low. I would probably switch that. This is only a year and a half ago. But anyway, I put Charlotte at 20, Eddie Guerrero at 19, Edge at 18, Randy Orton at 17, Andre the Giant at 16, Rey Mysterio at 15, Bruno Sammartino at 14, Kurt Angle at 13, Roman Reigns 12, Brock Lesnar 11, CM Punk 10, 9 Triple H, 8 The Rock, 7 Randy Savage, 6 The Undertaker, 5 Hulk Hogan, 5 Hulk Hogan, 4 Bret Hart, 3 John Cena, 2 Shawn Michaels, 1 Stone Cold Steve Austin. So that was my top 25. That was as of a year and a half ago. I would take out Charlotte and replace that with... I put Becky at 30. I would put Becky definitely higher than that. I put Sasha Banks higher than Becky, and I would definitely change that in retrospect. Anyway, let's see. Fernando said, I enjoyed your Macho Man book review. I ordered a copy of the book on Amazon a day ago. Oh, great to hear that, Fernando. Thank you so much. I'm glad you enjoyed my review and that you're going to check out the book. Glad to hear about it. So yeah, for those that did not see it or did not watch it, I did a book review of the Macho Man book that I read called The Unbelievable Untamed Life of Randy Savage. It's called Macho Man, and that's like after the, parenthesis, whatever, the semicolon or whatever. Great book. Only came out a year and a half ago. I did a lengthy review on it here on the channel. on Sunday. John Finkel wrote the book. Randy Cruz and I interviewed him about the book about a year and a half ago. I wanted to read the book, and I just hadn't had a chance until recently when I got the audiobook version. And both versions are great. The writing is excellent. So there's some books I would say like, oh, check out the audiobook version, but it's not like Savage does the fucking book himself. He's dead. So like Jim Ross's book, I thought was very good. He does the audiobook version. So I checked out the audiobook version for that one. This one was on a sale, so I did the audiobook version, and it was great. I thoroughly enjoyed it, learned a lot about Macho Man. My next book review, I was going to do it for this Sunday. I'll probably bump it to next Sunday, but it's going to be on DDP's book. Now, I think he did a book many, many years ago called Positively Page, but I'm talking about the book he did in the last few years, I think in 2019, called Own It or Own Your Life or something like that. It's about DDP yoga specifically. And it was a good book. I checked out the audiobook version because I had it on a deal or whatever as part of an Audible thing. And it was good. It wasn't as good as the other books, and I'll talk about it in the review. But I did enjoy it. Learned a bit. It was inspirational and whatnot, as you would imagine. But yeah, thank you, Fernando. I hope you enjoy the book when you get it in from Amazon. Grunt said, All Out was fantastic. First time I was on the floor for a major wrestling show. Dead center facing the set. Got some sick pics up in my blue sky. That's fucking awesome. That is great. I'm glad you had a fun time, Grunt, and had great seats. The thing is with AEW, first of all, the pay-per-views, they're gonna be good, but you can get much better seats for a lot cheaper in AEW because it's just not as hot of a product overall with the amount of tickets they're selling and whatnot. Their tickets are going to be a lot cheaper than WWE's. So honestly, I would recommend instead of paying hundreds and hundreds of dollars for, again, it depends on what you like, I guess. So more power to you. But in my personal opinion, instead of paying hundreds, like fucking Daniel said it was like $5 something stupid for like the cheapest ticket. Now, granted, that's now. Would that go down between now and Mania? I don't know. But if I was a fan, I'm not paying $500 to sit in the last row of Mania for one ticket. That's just stupid. I'm sorry, that's just dumb. I'd rather spend that money, and I never sit on the floor, but if I do, I would rather spend that money on a floor ticket for an AEW pay-per-view or a smaller show than sit last row at Mania. Unless they've never been to Mania before, that's different. But I've been to my fair share at this point, so it doesn't really... Like, now I go to cover it and I sit in the press box. But if I was buying a ticket, I would not pay that amount of money to just sit in the last row. That would just be stupid. I would wait until the ticket prices go down. Daniel said, you saying Wednesday instead of Tuesday is probably like the folks who still said WWF post the name change. Yeah, that is true. People still say WWF. I'm still going to say Tuesday instead of Wednesday or say Wednesday instead of Tuesday. I'm going to keep fucking it up for a long time because we were on Wednesdays with this show since like 2016 up until this year. It was like a full 8 years that we were on Wednesdays. So I still am in the habit of saying Wednesdays. Fernando said, what is the best wrestling event so far of 2025? That's a good question. Honestly, I think the two top ones happened in the same weekend. All In and Evolution. I would still say All In is the best show of the year. I think overall. I thought Elimination Chamber was great. Evolution was great too. I still say Elimination Chamber was better than Evolution. Evolution was a great show. I think Elimination Chamber was better. Now, the fallout from Cena's heel turn was terrible, but the actual turn itself was a massive moment, and the execution of it was excellent. I still either say Chamber or All In. I probably would go All In. It's tough. It's either All In or Elimination Chamber, probably All In. Evolution's also in that conversation, though. Let's see. Noob, what's going on? He said, good morning. How you doing today? I'm doing well. Thanks for asking, Noob. Hope you're doing well as well. Grunt said, talking about surprising chats that didn't happen. I'm shocked there was no holy shit chance at All Out considering the insanity that happened. Maybe AEW fans are just used to it at this point, so there's no holy shit. Maybe you find folk in Canada are just so used to the insanity of these AEW shows that it's like not really even worth chanting holy shit anymore. If this was a WWE show, someone does a fucking flip through the ropes and they chant holy shit, which is fine. Again, everyone's different, but it's just funny. Grunt also said, Anarchy in the arena ranking from worst to best based off what I can remember. He's got to watch them all back at some point. He says 2023, 2022, 2024, and then 2025. I can't rank them because they're all the same to me. I think the best one might be the first or second one. I've hated the recent ones. I'm just not a fan of that match at all. I did not like last year's, and I did not like this year's. I thought they were just a fucking mess. I didn't even really like the first one. You're probably right, though. I would probably rank them the same way. 2023, I would probably, I just remember last year, the pay-per-view ending at like 12:30. I didn't watch this year's live, but last year's also headlined the show, and I was very underwhelmed by that. So I would probably go 2023, then 2022, 2025, and then 2024. But again, to me, they all kind of blend together. Grunt said, I'm also leaning towards Ospreay and Paige as well for match of the year. Richie said, Elimination Chamber and SummerSlam might be WWE's best PLEs of the year so far for me. Liv stole the show from me in the Women's Chamber with how much she was bumping. We need her back soon. Yeah, I mean, it's amazing how stacked that Raw Women's division is specifically. They have so many great women on Raw right now. Liv was the MVP of that division. But honestly, in her absence, they have not missed a beat. They have not missed a beat at all. I mean, they're doing the Rhea, Io, Kabuki Warrior storyline. Stephanie just won the belt from Io in a great match. You have Nikki Bella back for now. Becky Lynch is doing her thing. AJ Lee is in the Raw Women's division. I mean, that alone is a great get. On SmackDown, they have good women, but there's just no fucking stories. Like Julia and Michin or whatever that story's supposed to be. Who gives a shit? Tiffany, Nia, and Jade is so boring. Done to death with Nia being involved. It's just, it's amazing. It's a tale of two shows right now as far as the women's divisions are concerned. Nathaniel, what's going on? He said, hey guys, would you want another Cena versus Brock match? No, I do not. Definitely not. I didn't really even want it in the first place, but I'm like, okay, I'll bite. Like, maybe it'll be a spectacle or this great full-out brawl like we got at Extreme Rules 2012. It certainly was not. So, absolutely fucking not. I don't care about Cena avenging the loss. It just doesn't matter to me at this point. I would rather they just move on and forget that even happened. Ghostface said, AJ Styles just tweeted, let's do it, I'm ready, in response to Cena. Let's fucking go. Is that true? Let's see. Cena, I saw, tweeted last night, oh, if you guys want to see Cena and AJ, like, I don't choose my opponents, but if you guys want to see it, like, where the fuck was this attitude a long time ago? Where the fuck was this attitude previously? Yeah. He responded to Cena and said, I hear them loud and clear. Let's do it. I'm ready. Well, Triple H, if he doesn't want it, then he won't do it, but he's going to look really bad if he doesn't book it. I feel like this is all planned. Cena did not go, like, off script. It's not like Cena went off script and said, oh, you know, let's book this match. I want it to happen. No, Cena would not tweet that unless WWE was planning on doing the match. So they are definitely doing the match, probably at Crown Jewel with no build whatsoever. But Cena's also not on TV until Crown Jewel. We know Cena will be on that show. So it sounds like it will be Cena in Styles, which is very funny because AJ is feuding with a Grande Americana right now. Like, who gives a shit about that? And then randomly he's going to face John Cena. Hey, whatever. Get him away from the fucking Americanos. Face AJ one more time. Why the fuck not? I'll take that over a Cena-Brock rematch. I'll tell you that much. Noob said, I mean, last night's Raw was good, especially the ending for the women. They stole the show. I agree. Daniel said, why do I think they announced Stephanie McMahon's Hall of Fame induction so early? Probably just because it's the ESPN premiere, the WWE PLE debut on ESPN, and they have a lot of eyes on their product. Stephanie was there anyway. She's probably at a lot of the shows. But they probably just wanted to make a bang with their first show. I mean, the first show was not a banger at all. I mean, there were some good matches on that show, but it was not a banger of a show. They just wanted to get people talking, and they never announced people this early. I mean, Stephanie McMahon being the first inductee is really funny. Hopefully she's not the headliner. I could see her going in. I have no issue with Stephanie being worthy of an induction. I get it. It's just her being the first one and announcing 7 months early is kind of funny to me. Yeah, it's probably just because they wanted to announce it on ESPN, and a lot of people are going to be watching. So I can understand why they did that. Maria said, I mean, it was goofy to me, but like, okay. I can understand what their rationale was. Maria said, Steph versus Sky should have been the main event. I mean, it was the best match on the show. That was never going to main event. I mean, they were never going to put the women on last. Theoretically, could they have or should they have? Of course. But, like, honestly, if we're going to be realistic here, Sky and Stephanie had no build. Lesnar and Cena had no build either. But that was a bigger match. That was a bigger attraction, so I could see that going on last. Thank God it did not. But if you're going to put another match on last, I think Cena or Cody and Drew was a better main event than Cena and Brock. Definitely. I would have gone to the mixed tag team match last. Now, I know putting on the World Championship last, I get that. But the mixed tag team match was a big match, and it was better than the actual main event. So, I mean, Sky and Stephanie was the best match, but you're not always going to save the best match for last. I know that sounds like, why wouldn't you? But, I mean, Sky and Stephanie was not really a main event attraction of a match. It just wasn't. Stephanie's still so new, and Io Sky is great. She's the best. Honestly, if it's not Adam, I didn't mention Wrestler of the Year earlier for your question. To me, I was thinking about this the other day. It's either Adam Page or Io Sky. I'm probably going to go Io Sky. I mean, Io Sky, in ring-wise, is the best WWE Wrestler of the Year, male or female. I might go Adam Page because his matches with Fletcher, Moxley, Ospreay, MJF even were all awesome. I'd probably go Adam Page as Wrestler of the Year overall, but Io Sky is right fucking there. She is right there. She's easily WWE's best of 2025, male or female. Anyway, Maria also said if the fans had to choose between Jay and LA Knight, who should they side with? Who should they side with? LA Knight. Who will they side with? Probably Jey Uso, because Jey Uso's got the yeet and the, whatever, and LA Knight is still super over. I feel like people would cheer or side with Jay over LA Knight. That's just the audience that WWE's cultivated. Not a terrible thing, but I'd rather see... We know LA Knight can be a great heel, but I just worry that if they turn him heel, first of all, he'll still be cheered, so what's the point? And then second of all, they'll have him lose, continue to lose. He has not won a fucking match since early July. It has been almost 3 months since he has won anything. That is ridiculous. I worry that he would get lost in the shuffle. If he would be even worse off, though. At least as a babyface, he's over and he's popular. As a heel, he might just go back to getting no reaction if he continues to lose. As a babyface, if you continue to lose and you're over, I can see the argument that you're okay. If you're a heel and lose all the time, there's really no coming back from that. You're just a fucking loser. And then you're not over either, because people have no reason to boo you because you're not credible. So I'd rather they side with LA Knight. I wouldn't turn either guy heel. It's an interesting story. I just don't know where it's going. I feel like they will turn Knight, and I'm not optimistic that's going to end very well. Let's see. Maria also said, Cody and Brandy versus Seth and Becky, let's go, LOL. If Brandy can cut one of her promos that she did on Jade 5 years ago, or she said, it's open mic night, bitch. If she could do that to Becky, then sure. As a quick match on Raw, then sure. As a pay-per-view attraction, definitely not. Alexis also joining us. She said, I've been here, by the way. Welcome, Alexis, in the chat. Let me back up a little bit here. Daniel said, ooh, Brock versus Fatu, sign me the fuck up as long as Jacob wins. Yeah, no, I agree. Daniel said, it's not just Becky saying it, it's Graham from Bleacher Report saying it too. Exactly. I am also saying it. Fernando, was I surprised to see Beth Copeland appear at All Out and didn't make the Copeland Christian and FTR feud more interesting? Yes, I am surprised that she did not get brought in sooner. Her combating or thwarting the interference of Stokely did make sense. I thought we would see that with her and Marina Shafir when Cope was feuding with the Death Riders. Maybe because Cope lost all of those matches, that's probably why they didn't do it. But he lost all of the matches to Moxley and the Death Riders, so that's probably why. But I was surprised they didn't do it then. No, I thought that was great. I thought it was really cool. I was kind of surprised they called her Beth. I'm like, oh, that's a WWE name. But no, her name is Elizabeth, so that makes sense. Phoenix obviously belongs to WWE, but they can call her Beth Copeland. I don't know if it's a one-off. She got attacked afterwards, so she's probably already gone. But no, I thought that was a great moment. Daniel said $854 for 400 level. That is stupid. That is dumb. That is just ridiculous. I'm sorry. That's just stupid. I try not to judge. Listen, if you want to pay for whatever you want to pay for, whatever. I will tell you that you are dumb if you pay that amount for 400 level. That is ridiculous. You're going to have to take a fucking second mortgage out on your house. That's just dumb. Lapdog said, All Out ruled. It was a very good show. I agree. Daniel said, I can't believe the alternate universe we're in where during All Out, not only did I want the Bucks to win the belt, but I popped for something related to Jack Perry. I will agree and disagree. I also did pop for the Jack Perry Luchasaurus reunion. I thought that was really well done. I thought the reunion of Jurassic Express was great. Honestly, like I said this on Twitter yesterday, a lot of great matches at All Out. My favorite part of the show was that reunion. I thought that was really, really well done. I had no idea they were going to do that. It does make sense. And it's a nice addition to that tag team division. It's not like Jack Perry. What the fuck else are you going to do with him at this point? I mean, honestly, like, on his own, they tried. I like Jack Perry. The guy's, he kind of fucked himself with that Punk stuff. And then it just wasn't overly interesting as a heel on his own with the Elite. That shit was garbage. And he hasn't been on the show for close to a year. So bringing him back and running it back with Luchasaurus as Jurassic Express is great. Keep Marco Stunt the fuck out of it. But, yeah, I'm honestly all for it. I did not want the Bucks to win the belts, though. I will tell you that much. I was very happy that Brodito retained. I would have been happy with the other teams winning. Definitely not the Bucks. I do not want the belts back on the Bucks anytime soon. Daniel said Becky's multiple personality gimmick is great, and Lyra is the perfect person to play off of for it. Well, I mean, you mean Bayley, not Becky, but yeah, I mean it's fine so far. I'm not really sure where it's going or how they intend to kind of make it. Like I said this on Twitter too with Bayley. If you really want to indicate when she's a babyface and when she's a heel, have her come out to the hugger music as a babyface, and then as a heel she comes out to her old Karen music. Come out to the different music. When she comes out to the same song every week, I mean, it's kind of confusing. Maybe people know whether to cheer or boo her, depending on how she's acting or who she's facing, I guess. But I would still change the music. I feel like that'd be a nice touch, depending on which personality that she's portraying. So far, it's good. I don't know if it's going to sustain that level of interest going forward. I do kind of worry that this gimmick will confuse people, and they don't know whether to cheer or boo her. And then she just gets no reaction ultimately, which is what she was kind of getting before. But it is something different. At least they're doing something different with Bayley, and it is interesting. So, I mean, again, the Raw women's division just fucking blows the SmackDown women's division out of the water in terms of talent and stories. They're doing the Bayley-Lyra thing, and they're working with the Judgment Day girls, Roxanne and Raquel. You have Becky doing her thing right now as Intercontinental Champion. Great IC Champion is Becky. She's feuding with AJ. I assume that's where they go next with them. That's a great feud. I like that idea a lot. Stephanie is the Women's World Champion. She's going to be facing Tiffany at Crown Jewel. Hopefully they have something lined up for her soon. And then you also have the Kabuki Warriors, the biggest story in the division, working with Rhea and Io for that tag team match probably coming up at Crown Jewel. And then on SmackDown you have what exactly? I mean, I like Charlotte and Alexa. I think that whole thing with the teaming is great. They've been working with the Secret Harvest now for about a month or two. It's okay. Julia and Michin, that whole thing sucks. I'm sorry. Kiana James with Julia fucking sucks. I don't care. And then Tiffany, Jade, and Nia, been there, done that. Every incarnation of those three against each other we've seen, I don't care at this point. Specifically with Nia being involved, I like Nia, but she's her and Tiffany's been played the fuck out. They have to move on. Fernando said, with the reunion of Jurassic Express at All Out, does AEW have the best tag team division right now? I still say no. I would still go with WWE overall because WWE, I mean, the SmackDown division has kind of cooled off since SummerSlam, but they still have so many just better teams overall. AEW does now have Brodito for as long as they're together. The Bucks, any incarnation of the Don Callis family. What was that? Jet Speed, obviously, they work well together. Gates of Agony, Hurt Syndicate, Jurassic Express, the Acclaimed seemingly getting back together. I don't really care about that. I was kind of happy they broke up, and now they're getting them back together months later. That's kind of dumb to me, but okay. And there's a few other teams, too, that are quite good. So FTR, obviously, Cope and Christian. Cope, I mean, yeah. I mean, I think the AEW Tag Team division is pretty well-rounded now. They've added a lot more teams. You have the Patriarchy, or what's left of it, with Sabian and probably Nick Wayne. So, yeah, I like AEW's tag team division. I still say WWE has the better one, because in WWE, what they're doing with said teams is questionable, specifically on Raw. But you do have the New Day, the War Raiders, LWO, Bait and Dunn. I mean, we haven't seen them team in months. I'm not even really sure if they count. But who are the tag team champions? The Judgment Day, who barely defend their belts. The talent on Raw is good. The defense of the titles is fucking non-existent. So that's 5 teams at least, and you probably have more on Raw. But on SmackDown, you have the Wyatt Six, the Street Profits, for now. Los Garza, pretty deadly when they're healthy. Motor City Machine Guns, Fraxium, Mellow Don't Miz for now, who work well together. I'm liking the story there. That's actually gotten me somewhat interested. It's gotten somewhat interesting again, shockingly. DIY, obviously. So, yeah, I mean, the WWE tag team division is definitely better, but it's closer. It's definitely closer now than it was a few months ago. I'll say that. Asuka turned Rhea into a Smurf. Yeah, I mean, she did not just miss that woman. She fucking covered that woman with the green mist or whatever that shit was supposed to be. That was crazy. Fernando said, I picked Chris Statlander to win the women's title, but I thought it would happen with help from the Death Riders. So did I. I'm glad it didn't. She did win with a Yuta-esque pinfall. I still think she joins the Death Riders. I still think she shouldn't. I'd rather she not. I have no interest in that at all. But I am happy that Statlander won, though. I felt like that was the right outcome. Jamie Hayter winning, too, would have been cool, but Statlander finally getting the belt, who's never held that title before, was very cool. What grade do I give Eddie's return at All Out? Honestly, a D. Everything about that I did not. Honestly, that was probably the worst part of the show. So I give it a D because I'm happy that Eddie is back. So that is the only thing I liked about that. I hated pretty much everything else. I thought the fact they announced it ahead of time was stupid. They really should have done a Big Bill Open challenge or hinted at Eddie being the opponent, but not just outright announced it. I just thought that was dumb. He would have gotten a much better reaction had it just been out of nowhere, or bring him back on TV and then have this be his first match back. That would have been better. That's what I was thinking. I'm thinking, why not bring him back in the ECW arena, but his first match back is on pay-per-view? It's still an attraction. That would have made more sense, because Big Bill having beef with Eddie Kingston also came out of nowhere, so they have no history, no chemistry, clearly, because the match sucked, and the finish was even worse. The match was no good, and I kind of blame Eddie for that. He looked very rusty. There was a lot of shit that did not look good. The finish specifically did not look good. Big Bill could not even really get him up for his spinning slide slam. That did not look good. Easily the worst part of the show. So, yeah, I'm happy Eddie is back, but that return was kind of crap. Hopefully he can bounce back with just a good promo on Wednesday, though. Daniel said the Bucks being broke gimmick has been entertaining. It has been. I still would not give them the belts, but it is easily the most entertaining the Bucks have been in a very long time. Fernando also said, what are your thoughts on the Mando and Grogu trailer? And then after this, we'll probably go to the scheduled questions. I thought it was good. I thought it was a good trailer. I didn't think it was amazing. It was kind of basic. It didn't really reveal anything as far as the plot. I mean, it's an early trailer. I think it's probably just the same trailer they played at D23 or at Comic-Con or whatever months ago, from what I can understand. They showed a few things that I had not seen before, most of the same characters. I did think it was a cute trailer. Grogu's obviously the star of it. I want the movie to be meaningful, though. If they just make it, which is the rumor, that it's just basically a fourth season of the show, but in movie form, I'm kind of skeptical over that. I mean, it sounds like Disney's kind of in this mode or this phase right now where they're taking shit that they were doing for Disney Plus and they want to make a fuck ton of money off of it, so they just put it in theaters. Now, that did work for Lilo and Stitch. Lilo and Stitch was supposed to be a Disney Plus exclusive. Thank God that was put out in theaters, because now we're getting a second one. I thought the movie was good. I enjoyed it. It wasn't amazing, but it was good. I enjoyed it. It was pretty good. That was the right decision. Moana 2 I thought it was good. It was very much, the same thing, but it was very much the same thing as the first one. That also was supposed to be a Disney Plus show or a movie or something. I think a show. And they just turned it into a movie and made a fuck ton of money. I kind of worry that they do that with Mandalorian and Grogu, where it's like, oh yeah, it's the fourth season, but let's turn it into a movie and put it out in theaters where it makes a fuck ton of money and then it's not great. Lilo and Stitch was very good. Moana was fine. I hope this is better than that, because it's the first Star Wars movie in a theater since Episode 9, 6 years ago. So hopes are high. I don't know if it's going to be great, because I thought this would be the movie where they tied everything together, where they tie together this and Book of Boba Fett and Ahsoka, and it's not. That's actually not what this movie is at all. So it will be a good movie, and I am looking forward to it. It should be a fun movie, because I enjoyed the show itself. I thought the show was great. But yeah, I just kind of worry that it won't be anything super significant, and then it could have just been a fourth season of the show, and it could have just come out on Disney Plus. As a Disney Plus movie, it probably would have been great, but because it's in theaters, you're hoping, oh, it's going to be this big climactic experience, but they might just be doing it to make more money. So, we shall see. Maria said, do you think having War Games this year is a mistake, considering there is nothing personal going on right now in WWE? So I've said this before. Well, two things. I've said this before. I fucking hate the idea of doing war games at the same time every year. I've had people tell me, oh, well, they did that in WCW. I think that's stupid too. I said the same thing about AEW. And AEW, to their credit, have not done Blood and Guts this year. Now, if they do, they should do it for a match that makes sense. That's why I don't really like Anarchy in the Arena. Anarchy in the Arena has kind of replaced Blood and Guts, where they do it at the same show every year, and it's the same match every year. That's why I don't really like Anarchy in the Arena. They should only do it when it makes sense, not just because it's Double or Nothing. They shouldn't do War Games just because it's Survivor Series. I would kind of prefer the elimination matches back for a little bit. None of these matches have stakes, so it doesn't really matter. But War Games they should only do, and I say the same thing about like when it was in NXT, they should only do it when it makes sense. That being said, though, I think they do have a situation that makes sense with War Games this year, at least for the men, and maybe with the women. I just don't like, with the women like last year, they just put women in there like that were feuding, but they weren't feuding with all of each other. It was like random stories just put together. That, to me, that could have worked, hear me out here, as an elimination match. That could have been like the Survivor Series elimination match. It didn't have to be fucking War Games. And the match sucked. That women's War Games last year was easily the worst women's War Games I've ever seen. And it just wasn't good. The men's War Games was better. And that match made sense because it was like the Bloodline versus the new Bloodline, whatever. With this match this year, they actually do have a match that makes sense. Now, you have the Vision now. And they planted the seeds for Brock kind of reuniting with Heyman. Brock has not been in a tag team match in decades. Like, he has not wrestled a tag team match since being back in WWE in 2012. So you have the opportunity here to do something really fresh by putting him on, not in the Vision, but like with the Vision. Maybe putting a fifth guy in there. It could just be 4-on-4. I don't really care personally. But you can have the Vision plus Brock against Roman and the Usos and Punk, or Cena, or Knight, whatever, any combination of those guys. And I feel like that would make a lot of sense. So I think, honestly, this year they've found a War Games match that makes sense with the men. I don't like the idea of doing, I've said this a lot before, but the whole War Games thing, it's like, now you have to drag out stories until November. Like, why not have a War Games match in September or at SummerSlam or whatever? Why does it have to be in November all the time? Like, that was kind of my worry with the whole MFT shit. People were saying in June when they announced War Games again for Survivor Series, oh, they're going to drag out Jacob Fatu feuding with the MFT so they could do War Games. That would have been fucking awful. Thank God that did not happen. It could still happen. I'm not saying that the War Games match this year is definitely involving the Vision. It might not be. It might be Solo and the MFTs, God forbid, against Fatu and whoever, who has not even been on SmackDown in weeks. So I fucking hope that's not the case. That would be terrible. That is why I think they should get rid of War Games, being on the same show every year. But I think there is a match they could do this year that makes sense. If it's the Vision and maybe Brock or something, or a fourth member of the Vision that's not Becky or Heyman, they're not going to put Becky in. They're not doing an intergender War Games match. WWE's not going to do that. I know AEW did that with Anarchy in the Arena with Marina and Willow. They're not fucking doing that with War Games and the men and the women. So they would need a fourth member of the Vision, a male fourth member, or Brock to team with them. But I think that's the match they do. Beyond that, I wish they would get rid of it at Survivor Series. Maria also asked, what is your opinion on the Jimmy Kimmel situation? I thought the whole thing was ridiculous that he had to get suspended. I saw what he said. It was honestly pretty fucking funny. I didn't really think it was insensitive. And he wasn't even really commenting on the death really at all. It was more so, Trump's reaction. I don't know. There's a lot that could be said about that. I'll just keep it at, I thought it was overblown. It was stupid. Just my opinion. And I did see they reinstated him like yesterday. I think they're bringing him back. Like, they had intellectual conversations, or whatever the fuck the press release said. Honestly, it's not that Disney or the shareholders or whatever thought better of it and like, you know what? He really didn't say anything wrong. Let's bring him back. I can guarantee you that's not what this is at all. They saw their stock drop a lot. They took a massive hit within the last week. That is what they pay attention to. Disney Plus subscribers, I don't really think they give a fuck about, like, as far as, the vast majority of people are not canceling their Disney Plus in protest of Jimmy Kimmel. Now, the stock dropping is really what they pay attention to. And that is what happened, and that's why they're reinstating him. I'm glad he's, back, but the whole censorship thing. And again, there's certain things that probably should not be said on TV as far as like that are insensitive, but I really just watching what he said, I really don't get it. I honestly thought it was funny, and he wasn't even really making fun of the death itself. He was talking about the reaction to it, and I feel like it was way more overblown, and it was just ridiculous. So I'm glad it seemingly is solved, and we're just moving on. Fernando said, where does Punk go from here? I don't know, because if Rollins is feuding with Cody going into Crown Jewel, I think Punk might not even be on the show right now, because what else do you do with him? I don't think Punk and Cody is over, Punk and Rollins is over, and people aren't going to want to hear this. I don't think it should be over, because we haven't gotten a proper blow-off. Punk never beat Rollins. They did win the tag team match, but AJ beat Becky. She caused her to tap out in the Black Widow. Punk never pinned Rollins. They need another blow-off. Like, they need a firm blow-off at, like, a Survivor Series or whatever. If they're waiting until Mania for that, then we're not getting it anytime soon. They need to move away from it for now. You should give Punk something to do with, like, a mini feud. If he's not working with him, now maybe does he work with, like, another member of the Division, like a Breaker or a Reed? I mean, he already had the tag team match against him at Saturday Night's Main Event in May. But, maybe they could do a singles match with one of them. He hasn't faced Breaker or Reed one-on-one, to my knowledge. So you could do that, or just do another feud entirely just to keep him busy, away from Rollins for right now. I think they might just keep him off the show, because he wasn't even on Raw last night. Now, neither was AJ Lee, and I think she should be. She should face Becky soon. Not at Mania, but soon. I would do that in the near future, personally. But with Punk, he might just be off the show for the next month. I mean, he was around Crown Jewel season last year. He beat Drew inside Hell in the Cell, and then he was off the show for like 6 weeks. I could see this being the same thing. Fernando also said there were reports that Randy was supposed to cost Cody the title by accident. Should that have been the finish on Saturday? Yes. So yes and no. I did see that. That would have been a better finish. I think you can't afford to take the belt off of Cody and then give it back to him or whatever the fuck. Yes, that would have been a better finish. But here's the thing. I also thought about this morning. If they do that anyway, just not on Saturday, they want to prolong Cody's second run a little bit longer, and they do it at Survivor Series instead, I'm fine with that. Drew might still win the title. I know that might sound like a dumb thing to say, a stupid thing to say, because he constantly loses whenever it matters most in this company, it seems, in the last couple of years since turning heel. But I could maybe see them doing that finish at Survivor Series. So maybe they just delayed it. Maybe they just do Drew winning the belt from Cody at Survivor Series, whether Orton cost Cody intentionally or not. They could have just moved it back. So we'll see. If they don't do it there or around that time before the end of the year, then yeah, they should have done that finish at Wrestlepalooza. I don't know what their plan is for Mania. I don't know if Cody walks in as champion. I don't think he needs to again. I think you could do Cody versus someone else. I think Drew could be champion going into Mania to face like a Sami Zayn who wins the Rumble. I've said that before. So if that's the case, then Drew's got to be champion before Mania, and you have him take the belt off of Cody, and you could do it exactly how you just said it and how it was reported, just not at Wrestlepalooza. You do it at Survivor Series instead. Because the thing is, honestly, their idea could have been, and I don't want to give them too much credit, they could be waiting to do it until Survivor Series, and this is why the whole Crown Jewel thing is fucking dumb. Because the idea could be, well, we want to do it on the show, but if we do it there, then the title match, or the champion versus champion match, rather, for the men at Crown Jewel, is heel versus heel, Drew versus Seth. Now, we know that match would be great, but we've also seen it so often, I have no interest in that match currently. Cody and Rollins, we haven't seen that match in so long. It's been like 3 years. That is a good match to do on that show. We just saw fucking Drew and Seth, I think, earlier this year. They did that match. They've done it a lot. They actually had a match at Crown Jewel 2 years ago. So I'm glad they're not doing Drew and Seth. But then again, it also begs the question, why are we even doing this Crown Jewel championship shit anyway? Like, they could just get rid of it. It really is a crutch on the current storylines. Like, oh, we have to have the belt on this person for this match to work. You really fucking don't. But, yeah, I'm not a fan of the whole Crown Jewel shit, and that's another reason why. Should AJ win the Women's IC Championship? Yes, but she doesn't need to win it in their first match. If they do Becky and AJ at Crown Jewel, I'm not sure if they will, because they didn't even interact on Monday. I'm getting the sense that they're not doing it there. They might do it at Survivor Series. I wouldn't wait until Mania. I feel like that's way too long, because we just had them interacting going into Wrestlepalooza. Why would they move away from that? Punk and Rollins, I could see them moving away from that for a while. AJ and Becky just started. She just fucking tapped her out. Why would they wait until April to give her a title shot. That would be stupid to me. But she could win it at Mania maybe. Like maybe you do the first match at Crown Jewel or at Survivor Series or on Raw and Becky wins. I would be okay with that. And then AJ wins it ultimately. But yeah, I think AJ could be the one to take the title off of her. I'd have no issue with that. I would have said Stephanie, but Stephanie's the women's world champion now, so there goes that. What grade do I give AJ Lee's performance? Probably B minus. I thought she did well. I did not like the strikes. A lot of people probably picked up on that where she was going like this. I mean, that just looked ridiculous. I don't even know if that's like a Divas era thing. That just looked fucking terrible. And then Becky had to sell it like she was shot. So the strikes were terrible. But the rest of her performance was good. I mean, obviously she was carried through by everyone else. She said that in her post. She thanked her husband, obviously. And then Becky and Rollins, they all did great. It was a very fun match. She was over. She didn't look like terrible in there. AJ was always one of the better workers of her time, but that was 10 years ago. She had some ring rust, but beyond the obvious ring rust, I thought she did very well. So probably a B or B minus. Cupcake said she was horrible. I disagree. I thought she did well. I thought the strikes didn't look good, but I thought overall she held her own and didn't look too bad out there, at least in my opinion. Top 5 comeback matches in WWE. I mean, Shawn Michaels has got to be number 1, right? Shawn and Triple H from SummerSlam 02. I mean, it wouldn't be AJ's match. I don't think AJ was, yeah, Daniel agrees the strikes were atrocious. They'll wait until April since her name is April. I get the joke. Yeah, I could see them doing that. I hope not. Yeah, I mean, Shawn and Triple H would have to be number 1 from SummerSlam 02. Ah, man. You know what? Honestly, I would put maybe Steve Austin versus Kevin Owens in there because that match was way better than it had any right to be. We didn't even really know what that was going to be at WrestleMania 38, but it ended up being an absolute blast. More of like an angle than a match, but that was a lot of fun. So I'd probably would say Steve Austin for Mania 38, Shawn Michaels at SummerSlam 02. Not Daniel Bryan. His first match back was like him and Shane against fucking Owens and Zayn. It was a good match, but it wasn't great. Yeah, I don't know. Definitely Steve Austin and definitely Shawn Michaels. I'm trying to think of what else. Not Cena. Do I think Cena deserves a rematch against Brock? No, I don't. I'd rather they just move on. That last match was not good at all. I'd rather they just forget that even happened and then move on. To waste one of Cena's remaining retirement tour dates on another match with Brock would be indeed that. It would be a waste. So I hope not. Yeah, I'm sure there's plenty other ones like return matches. I honestly thought Trish had a great return match, great comeback match against. I mean, the last match with Becky was great, but that wasn't her comeback match. Her comeback match, she had a match with Charlotte at SummerSlam 2019 that was actually fucking awesome. They had a very good match. So, yeah, I mean, I might put that in there. I'm trying to think of other matches in my mind. Like the Rock's comeback match would have been what? I mean, I guess Mania 40, that was his comeback match. He hadn't wrestled in like a decade last year. That was pretty good. I'm sure there's other ones, though. There's got to be other ones. You know, Edge, he was in the Rumble. Did well there. That was his comeback match. The match at Mania with Orton was kind of boring. The rematch was a lot better. Trying to think of who else like had a big comeback match. Yeah, I would agree with that, Daniel. Brock's return match against Cena in 2012, that would be in the conversation, too. That match was amazing. In Chicago, that match was excellent. Easily the best Cena-Brock match. The SummerSlam match was great for a different reason, but their best match would be that one, for sure. Fernando asked earlier, my favorite WWE logo since I've been watching. I mean, there's only been 2, right? I mean, I started watching in 08, so it's been the Scratch logo. Without the F, it's just the WWE Scratch logo, and then like the WWE Network logo that we have now. I would go with the WWE Scratch logo. I mean, that has that attitude, nostalgic feel to it. It's like the most basic logo that everyone remembers, aside from like the classic WWF one. I guess it kind of depends on when you grew up. Since I started watching, I would go with the WWE Scratch logo, but there's only been 2 logos for WWE. They haven't really changed that all that often, which is good. I feel like they change the signature of the show every fucking year. They changed it again, and I don't like the new one. It gives off Sports Center, which I guess is the point. I don't like it. I thought the last one, like the Marvel one in the sky and the stars and shit, was way better. I thought that was more epic and like, oh, fuck, here we go type thing. I don't like the new one. They changed that shit way too often. the original one might be the best one, or not the original one, but like the whole world is watching. Like everyone remembers that one. That might be the best one in my opinion. Anyway, Fernando said randomly, do you think the Undertaker gimmick would have worked in WCW during the NWO era? Absolutely not. Definitely not. I mean, they were so far removed from like at least the good shit in WCW at that point was largely far removed from like the campy shit. Maybe in like the mid 90s, but even then I feel like it might have been garbage. It might have been terrible. Like he might have been working with like the Dungeon of Doom and that stuff. So probably not. If he was in WCW during the NWO period, he would have been just trampled over because it was all about the reality era based stuff. They talked about that in that NWO book I read recently. That was very good, and I recommend it, like I said earlier, in that book review with the Macho Man one. Yeah, I don't think that would have worked. He would have had to done the American Badass stuff a lot sooner than he did. I mean, that was part of the reason why the Undertaker character didn't really work in the Attitude Era itself. Like, I mean, he was doing the Undertaker Dead Man stuff in the Attitude Era for the first few years, but it got old after a while, and he was involved in some pretty garbage shit. He got a lot better when he went American Badass in 2000. Fernando said, or Cupcake said, WWE WrestleMania pre-sale tickets out today. Yeah, we talked about the prices earlier. I am aware. The prices are just nonsensical. Fernando said, better farewell tour, Cena or Sting? Is that even a question? Cena. I'm kidding. Obviously Sting. I'm not even sure how anyone can tell you with a straight face that Cena's farewell tour, with that botched heel turn alone, is better than Sting's. Now, what is Sting's farewell tour? Are we talking from when he announced his retirement in late 2023 to early 2024? To me, his retirement tour was the entire fucking run that he had in AEW, from when he debuted in late 2020 up until he debuted, or retired rather, in early 2024. And I've said this before, it's one of the best runs I've ever seen, like as far as how they booked him and the stuff he was involved in, having some really fun matches. They never made him look like he was embarrassing himself out there, despite being fucking 60 or whatever he was at that point. He looked great. He looked great out there. So, yeah, the answer's got to be Sting. Cena's had better matches on his own, like the Cody match and the Logan Paul match and stuff like that. But overall, better tour. Regardless of when you consider Sting's retirement tour starting, I would still go with Sting. And hopefully Cena has as good of a send-off as Sting did, but it's going to be hard to top because that send-off for Sting at Revolution last year was among the best ever. So now let's go to the scheduled questions here that were sent in ahead of time. I will go through these questions. I will go back to the chat in a little bit, so don't think I'm ignoring you. I will go back to the chat in a little bit if you guys are still here. Thank you for tuning in, but like I said earlier, if you are tuning in, be sure to like the video. All that stuff is greatly appreciated. Helps the show a lot, helps the channel a lot, so please do so if you haven't already. Jordan B. from YouTube. If WWE had not done NXT 2.0, this is very random, do I think Kyle O'Reilly would have been NXT champion? Yeah, I do. Kyle O'Reilly was very primed to win that NXT championship during that period. He had gotten a few shots in late 2020, early 2021, but lost them. And it was clear they were headed for him winning that championship. And then Adam Cole became an obstacle. They did that feud. And then after that was over, he looked like he was headed for championship contention. I think the belt went to Joe, but he would have beaten Joe for the belt or whatever. And then NXT 2.0 happened, and that went completely out the window. And then instead had him working with fucking Von Wagner, who he had to put over in December before he left the company. I think he may have beaten him, but then lost. No, I think they went for the tag titles, and then Von Wagner turned on him, and they did the turn, and then had Von Wagner beat him like 2 days later because O'Reilly's contract expired like that week or whatever. But anyway, yeah, I think O'Reilly absolutely would have been NXT champion had NXT 2.0 not happened. Average Grunt, speaking of whom, I should have answered his questions first. My apologies, because he is a channel member. But anyway, his questions were, can you rank every All-Out from worst to best? Good question. If I had to rank all the All-Outs, I mean, this is kind of just going off of memory, and I looked at my reviews of each show when you asked this question. There has been 7 of them. So these are my rankings of all 7 All-Outs. From worst to best, I would say the worst one was 2020 because that was during COVID. I remember that not being a great show when I watched it live. They did Moxley and MJF on that show, which was good, albeit predictable. That was also the show they did Jericho in Orange Cassidy in the fucking Mimosa match. I remember that being just terrible. That had like no fans. So I would say that was the worst All Out show. And then 2022, which had some good matches and moments on it, but it was largely overshadowed by the Punk drama, Brawl Out that same night. So I would go 2022. 2019 was the first one. That was a very good show. You know, Jericho and Paige and the first crowning of the inaugural AEW World Champion, that being Jericho. The Bucks and Lucha Bros was great. Omega and Pac was a great match. So that was a good show. Not something I'll probably go back and watch, but it was a very good show. Then I would go 2024, which was last year's show. Last year's show had a lot of great matches, including the main event, Paige and Strickland, the unsanctioned match. Also Willow and Statlander in the Chicago Street Fight, among other matches. For top 3 All-Outs, I would then go this year. I thought this year was a great show. I thought 2023 was better because hopes were lower. And I think Moxley and Orange Cassidy went in there and had this amazing main event for the International Championship that Moxley won. And it was just a really, really good card, I remember. It wasn't the best one, but I would probably go 2023 over 2025. It was also a shorter show from what I can recall. The length of these shows is just ridiculous as well. Like 6-hour pay-per-views is just nonsensical. I'm sorry. But I'd probably go 2023 over 2025. And the best one to me, it's not going to change. I was there, but I'm biased, but it's true. 2021. That was when you had that great Omega Christian main event. One of the best matches in AEW history between the Bucks and the Lucha Bros inside of a steel cage. You had the debut of Ruby Soho, the surprise appearance of Minoru Suzuki. You had the, I think that was right after Moxley and Satoshi Kojima. They had their match and Moxley won. But then you had the debuts of Adam Cole and Bryan Danielson in the same breath, basically, at the end of the show. One of the best endings in pay-per-view history. That was their WrestleMania 17. Punk's return match against Darby Allin on that show. How could I forget? Britt Baker and Chris Statlander had a very good match as well for the AEW Women's World Championship from what I remember. So that was their best pay-per-view ever, in my opinion, and still the best all-out pay-per-view they've done. So once again, from worst to best of all-outs, I would go 2020, 2022, 2019, 2024, 2025, 2023, and then 2021. His next question, who won the weekend? WWE's Wrestlepalooza or AEW's All Out? And Millennial Noob asked the same thing. He also said, which pay-per-view stole the weekend, All Out or Wrestlepalooza? I believe All Out was good in terms of surprises and was decent, but as far as Wrestlepalooza goes, no surprises, and the match card was all right. It could have done better. I agree with both. I think All Out was definitely the better show. I said that earlier. Honestly, I don't think it was even really close. I thought Wrestlepalooza was not a bad show. People were really shitting on the show, calling it terrible. People are just so fucking dramatic. It wasn't a bad show. What I did not like about the show was Cena and Lesnar. That was disappointing. The Usos and the Vision was good. I felt like that could have happened on Raw, and literally we're getting that match on Raw next week with a stipulation. So seriously, you could have just done that on Raw. Stephanie and Io was an excellent match. I thought the mixed tag team match was great. Very fun match. And the main event was good, solid, kind of underwhelming, but good. That was really about it. No real surprises. I think if they didn't hype it up as much as they did, it would have just been a good show. But people get their hopes up so high because they buy into this shit from Triple H. Like, oh, it's going to be this epic, era-changing, industry-changing event, which it absolutely was not. And then I also hate, and this has been the case now for a while, but even though they're on ESPN, they still have fucking commercials. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, they didn't have commercials on pay-per-views before, like when they were on the network, even on Peacock early on. I don't remember there ever being commercial breaks. I don't remember that. It's such a waste of fucking time. It really hurts the flow when you have like a 4-minute commercial break. I just skipped through it. I wasn't watching live, so I could skip through it. It really hurts the flow of the show. All Out had way too many matches, and it was a way too long of a show. But it was a better show with better wrestling and some honestly better moments. Like they had more surprises at All Out with the Pac return, the Jurassic Express reunion, and even Beth Copeland showing up than they did at Wrestlepalooza. And a good crowd in Toronto. And like I said, some very good matches, including a great main event, a fun opener, and some really good stuff in the middle. So not everything was amazing. I didn't really care for Mercedes and Riho. Eddie and Big Bill sucked. But overall, I think the good outweighed the bad, and it was a great show. Not their best All Out of all time, not even their best pay-per-view of the year, but still a very good show. Better than Forbidden Door. And he also asked, who had the better show in Toronto this year, WWE with Elimination Chamber or AEW with All Out? It's a great question. This is a tougher question. I still say Elimination Chamber because All Out was a great show. If you're going in for great matches, you'll probably go with All Out because All Out had more of them. But All Out was just, again, way too fucking long. Way too long. The crowd was good on both shows. Elimination Chamber was a shorter show. They had fewer matches. There were only 4 matches on that show. But that being said, the Women's Chamber was great. The Men's Chamber was great. The Cena heel turn, although it ended up flopping, the actual turn itself was very well executed. It was a great moment. It was perfectly done. You also had the return of Jade Cargill on that show during the Women's Chamber, the return of Randy Orton on that show. And then the women's tag team match was fine. That was kind of the weakest point of the show. But Owens and Zayn was a phenomenal street fight, unsanctioned street fight. That was a great match. So I would still go Elimination Chamber. I feel like that was one of the best B shows WWE's ever done, in my opinion. And All Out, that was just another typical great show from AEW. So the better show in Toronto, I would go Elimination Chamber, but All Out, I could see you making the case for that. There was just more filler on All Out than there was Elimination Chamber, so that's why I would probably go Elimination Chamber. Fresh and Fly from YouTube said, the IWC is outraged about Wrestlepalooza. What are your thoughts on the show? I already talked about this a second ago. I thought it was good. I enjoyed it overall, but they've had better shows. I thought Clash in Paris was better. I thought SummerSlam overall was better. It could have been a better show. And they take their time with like all the video packages and the commercials and all this bullshit. Just give us the fucking matches, man. I mean, the mixed tag was definitely too long. It was actually longer than the main event by a pretty wide margin, I think. It was good. Some shows can just be good. Not everything has to be terrible or amazing. I thought the show was good, but it could have been better. I agree with that. No L from Facebook. Do I see AJ Lee going after the Women's Intercontinental Championship against Becky Lynch? Yes, she tapped out Becky, so she absolutely should. I don't know if they go to it immediately. I think they should. I think waiting on that until Mania season would be stupid. I mean, she just tapped her out, so why would AJ Lee not be next in line for a shot? She doesn't have to win the title in their next match, but they should have a match either at Crown Jewel or at Survivor Series or at some point in the near future. Their second question, do I think it's time to finally turn Cody Rhodes heel and not pull his no-heel run from AEW before fans get bored of him as a babyface? We're approaching that point. I mean, Corporate Cody is a bit long in the tooth. It is getting tiresome. He is still super over. I would not turn him until we're closer to him getting booed. Now, he has gotten booed more this year, but not as overwhelmingly as in AEW. I mean, the AEW thing, his character sucked. His character work was awful. The issue in AEW, he was overwhelmingly getting booed, and they just didn't turn him. He is not overwhelmingly getting booed in WWE. Working with Cena, he was. Even going into SummerSlam, he was. But at the end of that match, they ate it up and they cheered Cody winning the belt back. So, I don't know, man. It's very strange. But no, he should not turn Cody. They should not turn Cody anytime soon. I would give it another year or two. We'll see where we are in 6 months. But he's still so popular. And like I said a few months ago when people were pitching this going into SummerSlam, if you don't have anyone to replace him, why the fuck would you turn him heel? Who's going to replace him? Roman Reigns is not full-time. CM Punk is more full-time than Roman, but he's also 45 years old. LA Knight is great. He's closer to 40 as well, but, you know, they don't book him in that way. They don't see him as the main event guy. Jey Uso is main event Jey Uso. He is not the fucking face of the company. Sami Zayn is not the face of the company. He's awesome, better than Jey, not the face of the company. Drew is great as a heel right now. He was the face of the company. He's not the guy, though. He was there for a little bit, but he's also just a better heel right now. I would not turn him. Jacob Fatu is not there yet. Braun Breaker is not there yet. They don't have anyone to replace him with. There's no answer. So, no, do not turn Cody anytime soon. Eventually, yes, but we're not there yet. At EWAGU91, every time I see Mark Briscoe, it's sad knowing his brother Jay is not with him, is not with us, is not with him. Do you feel the same? Of course. I mean, I miss Jay Briscoe every day. I mean, the Briscoes were such a great team. I think what makes me sad is that Mark Briscoe, he's getting a great push, and he's really made the most of the push he's gotten in AEW in the last few years. What is sad, though, is knowing that we will never see the Briscoes back again in AEW. Like, we never even got to see them in AEW at all. They were relegated to Ring of Honor because of their past issues of a comment that Jay Briscoe made over 10 years ago. And it took him until after he died for them to finally put Mark Briscoe on TV. So that is sad. That does make me sad. knowing that we won't get the Briscoes in this AEW tag team division because they'd be ripping it up right now. His second question, my thoughts on Bryan Danielson joining AEW commentary full-time. I think it's great. Bryan's been awesome on commentary. He gets very excited and enthusiastic. He knows what he's talking about. He was awesome on commentary a decade ago for the Cruiserweight Classic. He is great on commentary now. So, yeah, big positive on that AEW commentary team. Excalibur is fine. I like Taz. Danielson is awesome, and I'm glad we have him in a regular role on the show, even if he's not wrestling full-time anymore, at least right now. I'm glad he's on commentary. He's a great addition to the commentary booth. Their third question, do I consider the MJF AEW World title reign to be better than the Miz's WWE title reign? Or reigns, he said. I forgot the Miz held it twice. That's not even a question. MJF is, if not their best world champion, some people really shit on it. It was absolutely better than Miz's. I liked Miz's WWE title reign. The second one was 8 days. I mean, we can't talk about that. But his first one, like, he feuded with Cena and Orton and Lawler, and honestly, some of those matches were good. Like, when he lost it in the triple threat at Extreme Rules in 2011, that was a great match. The match with Cena at WrestleMania sucked, but, the feud itself was fine. The Orton feud was fine. The Orton matches were good. The Jerry Lawler matches were actually very good. So, yeah, I mean, I thought he had a good title reign. I thought he exceeded expectations. MJF had far better matches with far better opponents. The Bryan Danielson Iron Man match is still one of AEW's best ever from Revolution in 2023. The Ricky Starks match was good. The Adam Cole match at All In was very good. I like that match. He had some pretty good matches on TV for that AEW World Championship. The match with Samoa Joe on TV was very good. The Jay White match was decent. I enjoyed MJF's overall title reign. The Omega match, I was there for that one in Mohegan Sun here in Connecticut on Collision. That was where if he lost, Omega held the record for longest AEW World title reign, and MJF had to beat him to extend the record, and he did. Amazing match. That match was excellent. That match was awesome. So, yeah, the MJF match, or title reign, rather, was absolutely better than the Miz's. We also had that four-way, Double or Nothing with the Four Pillars, with MJF, Jack Perry, Sammy, and Darby. Excellent match. I don't give a fuck about Jack Perry or Sammy at this point, but the match itself was very good. Last two questions I already talked, or actually last question, because I already answered Noob's other question about All Out and Wrestlepalooza. His first question was, and his last one here, what are your thoughts on Asuka's heel turn on Io Sky? It seems like this has been a very good storyline that everyone is investing in, and the Asuka heel turn could be the best WWE heel turn this year. What, you're saying that it's better than John Cena's amazing heel run? I kid. You ask about the Asuka stuff every week, but I do agree. I think the Asuka stuff has been well done. It's been a consistent story on the show. She's playing her role well. Io's playing her role well. Kairi Sane's playing her role well. Rhea Ripley's playing her role well. It's something outside of the title picture that we can get invested in. They closed the show last night with something non-Vision related. Thank fucking God. I thought that was cool. Great match with Rhea and Asuka as well. Probably one of, if not their best match ever together. And they had a WrestleMania match years ago, and that's saying something. So, yeah, no, I've been digging it. Is it the best heel turn of the year? I mean, the best heel turn is John Cena's. Heel run, Cena is not in the best heel run. But, I mean, you can't say that the John Cena heel turn was worse than Asuka's. Heel run, yes. Heel turn, no, come on. The Asuka heel turn last night was very well done. Cena's heel turn will be remembered for decades to come. The Asuka one will be forgotten in a couple of weeks. It was good, but let's not get ahead of ourselves here. But still, I'm digging what they're doing with Asuka. I think she'll have a good heel run, and if she can work with Rhea some more, and who I think she's never beaten before, actually, which is kind of amazing. But if she can work with Rhea some more, and eventually Io one-on-one, that is what I'm looking forward to. Those matches should be fucking awesome. So, yeah, I liked what we got to close Raw last night. It was a very good match, coupled with a very good angle. And it left me looking forward to seeing what happens next. Probably the mixed tag team match, or not the mixed. Just a basic tag team match at Crown Jewel with Rhea in Australia, probably going over. And we can get Asuka and Io at some point coming out of that, going into the end of the year. So, yeah, I'm digging the Asuka stuff right now. It's probably one of, if not the best thing going on Raw at the moment, in my opinion. Let's pull the chat back up here. Give me a sec here. Emmanuel A., what's going on, brother? Great to see you in the chat. Hope you're doing well. Cupcake with the $10 super chat. Thank you so much, my man. I appreciate that. He said, I'm late to the party. Thanks for responding to my questions. Hi, I have an appointment. Can't wait until the next live. Well, thank you, Cupcake. I appreciate that. That means a lot. Thank you so much for the $10 super chat. Give you all the old like on the chat there. So thank you so much. Hope we can see you on the next chat or the next live stream that we do. I said earlier that the next live stream that we do is WrestleRant Radio on Thursdays, but we'll be back here live next Tuesday for #AskGSM. So great to see you in the chat, and thank you for joining. Daniel said, I get why Tony Khan put so many matches on the show, but sheesh, he didn't need to go not all of them needed to go 20, 30 minutes. I feel like there's a happy medium there, man. I feel like there's a happy medium between having 5 matches in 3 hours and then doing 14 matches. I mean, I guess 10 if you don't include the pre-show. 10 matches in 5 hours. It's ridiculous. Some of those matches on the show, honestly, here's the thing. I feel like some of those matches on the pay-per-view could really benefit from being on TV. They don't need to be on TV, or they don't need to be on pay-per-view. Not everything needs to be on pay-per-view. I think Dynamite is so uneventful most weeks because they don't do big matches like some of the matches they do on pay-per-view. That Takeshita Okada Dorada match was great. That could have headlined a Dynamite. Would have been fucking awesome. You know, like you could just do some matches on pay-per-view and some matches on TV, and that's totally fine. You don't need to shove everything into the pay-per-views. But yeah, not every match needs to be 20, 30 minutes. Like Riho and Mercedes could have been 10, not 15. Briscoe and MJF probably went 20. I hate every match going 20 minutes. If you want to do 20-minute matches, that's fine. They don't need to do 10 matches on top of it. It's just the shows are too fucking long, man. They're too long. I'm glad they start sooner. That's a positive. But they don't need to be going for 6 hours. Like, that's just nonsensical. You are getting your money's worth at the very least. I will say that. The shows are good. So, there's worse problems to have. They could be fucking terrible shows. They can be shorter. They can be shorter with less matches. And people will say, oh, why would you want less great wrestling? Because there is such thing as too much. You are not human. If you're like, oh, all I want is great matches for 7 hours, like, you also probably do not have anything else going on that you have to do. Like, I have other things to do, people to see, whatever the fuck. I'm not super important, but I have a fucking life outside of watching these shows, which is why I'm kind of glad sometimes I can watch them after the fact so I could skip through all the bullshit. Specifically on the WWE shows where they have all these commercial breaks and all this nonsense. It saved me so much time watching both shows after the fact, so it's probably a blessing I could not watch them live. Emmanuel A. said, sorry if this already got asked, but did you see ESPN's website did a review of Wrestlepalooza and gave it a C? Yes, I did see that. I did talk about that earlier at the start of the video. It's funny. People were really freaking out about that. It's not like ESPN, the people that bought WWE to be on ESPN are like, oh yeah, that show sucked. Internally, we thought the show was terrible. No, it's a writer for the website. It's no different than when AEW pay-per-views were on Bleacher Report, and I don't do grades for the AEW shows, but I would talk about them in my articles and whatnot, and I would say the show wasn't good or it sucked. It's just because the show is on that platform doesn't mean they have to review them. And I like the fact they were honest about that show. Daniel said earlier that they reviewed Raw and they gave Raw an F. That's just fucking stupid. I don't agree with that at all. Raw was a good show, and it was actually better than WrestlePalooza. WrestlePalooza being a C show makes sense. That was a C-level show, if not C+, maybe. But I'm glad they're not stopping doing grades and reviewing the show as objective journalists just because it's on ESPN. So, people really freak out about that shit for engagement. Like, oh my God, their own platform gave it a C. Like, okay, I would be more concerned if they didn't give it a C. I'd be more concerned if they stopped doing grades because it's on ESPN. I hope they don't see that and they're like, oh, fuck, we don't want to piss off WWE. Let's not do that anymore. I hope that's not the case. At least with AEW, and this is from my own experience, they never gave a fuck. Like, they would, obviously we wouldn't be, like, egregious, like, calling Tony Khan, like, slurs and stuff like some people would on social media. Like, we don't do that in our articles. That's just stupid. That's the dumb part of the internet. But, like, to my knowledge, we never got talked to on Bleacher Report when the AEW pay-per-views were still on there about, like, oh, can you not criticize our shows? Or, like, oh, that's a little bit of a low grade. I'm sure Tony Khan didn't like that. I'm sure people there didn't like it, but they would have to deal with it. Like, we're not going to not be, we can have our own opinions on stuff. When something was garbage, we would say it was garbage. I've always said that about both companies. If I think something's trash, I'll call it trash. If I think it's great, I'll say it's great. It doesn't matter who you work for or what side of the fence you're on. I think we can all be objective wrestling fans here. Daniel said Edge was kicking out of everything in that tag team match. He was kicking out of everything in that tag team match like he was NXT Gargano. Yeah. Yeah, that was a tad ridiculous. Master, what's going on? Thanks for joining. I will get to your question in a second, but Emmanuel said, I didn't hear the commentary for All Out, but I did read some people saying Bryan was overshadowing Taz on commentary, especially during the main event. I heard that as well. That didn't really bother me. I mean, I love Taz. I mean, maybe he should calm it down a little bit and let Taz talk. But yeah, I mean, it's his first pay-per-view. I mean, Daniel was just excited. That was his first pay-per-view that he's called, and he was really, really excited, so I don't blame him for that at all. I'd rather have enthusiasm as opposed to no enthusiasm. So, yeah, I mean, it's constructive criticism. He can adjust that for future shows. I'm sure he understands that. But yeah, I thought overall his commentary was very good. Master asked, how do I think Cody versus Rollins will go? As far as who wins, I think Cody's going to win again. Like, they're really playing up the story that Cody's always beaten Rollins. Yeah, sure, you can have Rollins win here because he's a heel and he has the vision. I think Cody should win again. I think Cody should beat him. And then you can have Rollins finally beat Cody at some point down the road. I think you could stretch out the story even longer. Like with Rhea and Io, like they're really stretching that out. Like Rhea's never beaten Io, and that's been like 5 years in the making. Cody and Rollins has been 3 years in the making. I would drag it out even longer. Like, honestly, I was thinking last night when they're talking about like, oh, you've never beaten me, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, you can wrap up that story by having Rollins win. The outcome's irrelevant. They're both champions. It doesn't even really matter who fucking wins. I would have Cody win for this reason. You can run it back with them in a few years when inevitably Cody is a heel and Rollins is the babyface. I feel like it would mean more for Rollins to finally beat him when Cody's a heel and he can get that big feel-good win as opposed to when Rollins is a heel. And there's nothing on the line, too. Like, oh, it's a Crown Jewel Championship. Who cares? You can make the Crown Jewel Championship like the WWE version of MJF in the fucking brass ring or whatever that thing is, the diamond ring, where Cody wins it like every year. You know? So, yeah, I'd be totally fine with that. I would have Cody win. If Rollins wins, that's totally fine. I think the promo last night was great. I would probably have Cody win, though. If Rollins wins, that's fine, too. Did I see Bryan Danielson saying Mercedes is better in-ring than 96 Ultimo Dragon, Daniel said? No, I did not see him say that. I don't know if that's true or not. I wasn't watching Ultimo Dragon in 96, so I can't accurately comment on that, but that is funny if he did say that. Johnny said, I would have Chris Statlander turn heel and join the Death Riders during her first title defense against Tony at WrestleDream. That's probably what's going to happen. I don't want that to happen, but that's probably what will happen because that's the direction they're teasing. I fucking hate the Death Riders, but that's probably where we're going with it. And I'd rather them lose members than add members, but that's just where we are. Fernando said, should Jade beat Tiffany for the title? No. They could, because what would that make the match at WrestleDream? Jade versus Stephanie? I guess. I think Tiffany and Stephanie would be better, but Stephanie could get a good match out of Jade, I think. If Jade wins the title on SmackDown, I don't really have an issue with it. I really don't mind that because Jade already lost at SummerSlam. Because the question is, if Jade loses again, she already failed to win in that rematch on SmackDown a few weeks ago. That was like a double countout or something. I don't know why she... I mean, what do you do? Do you turn her heel? Like, I would have her work with Bianca, and hopefully Bianca's back soon. Bianca being out for this long with a broken hand or something is insane. I mean, hopefully she's doing okay, but like the fact she's been out for 5 months with a broken hand of all things, which does not sound like a massive injury, is crazy to me. That's crazy. But yeah, if she loses again, you got to do something. So I could see her winning this week. I still think it's going to be Tiffany and Stephanie at Crown Jewel, but maybe it is Jade and Stephanie. I guess we'll find out soon. Daniel asked, is Bryan retired? No, he's not. I mean, he has made comments like, oh, I'm retired, but brother, he will wrestle again. I bet you anything he will wrestle again. I don't know if he underwent surgery. I think he did a while ago, neck surgery or whatever. I thought that might have been a work. That was going into his retirement last year, and I thought he might have just been saying that. I think it was real. I think he actually did have to undergo surgery. He will absolutely wrestle again here and there, maybe even more than here or there. He's just full-time done. As a full-time wrestler, he is finished. I don't know if he'll wrestle one more match. I feel like you wrestle more than one. I feel like you wrestle a couple more times going forward. I feel like that's probably what's going to happen. I just don't know when that's going to be. Probably next year. He doesn't wrestle. I don't think he wrestles for the rest of this year, but probably next year I could see him wrestling his first match since Wrestle Dream last year. And he also said, Daniel did, it was funny on the last Dynamite when Fletcher was attacking Hangman and Bryan said, somebody do something. Like, fam, you're a wrestler. How about you? Yeah, I agree. I guess the idea is that Danielson can't. I mean, actually, that's not true. I was going to say Danielson can't get involved. He fucking did it at All In. So technically, he could. We know that he can, but maybe Adam Page told Page told Danielson before the pay-per-view, do not get involved in the pay-per-view. But what about beforehand? He didn't say that to him like, oh, on Dynamite, don't help me. He didn't say that. So, yeah. Unless Tony Khan said, hey, Danielson, you can join commentary if you don't get involved. I don't know. I'm not sure why he wouldn't have gotten involved. Johnny said Gen V Season 2 is good so far. It is. They had 3 episodes come out last week when it premiered, and I watched all 3. They were all great. Left on a good cliffhanger. Gen Z Season 1 exceeded my expectations. I think Season 2 is also off to a strong start. Enjoying the show so far, I should say. Johnny also asked, is Hangman Wrestler of the Year so far? I said this earlier, it's either Hangman or Io Sky. I think I might give this slight edge to Hangman. I feel like he's had more high-profile, better matches than Io. Io's fucking killed it. But Io, she had that amazing... Also, match of the year, we forgot to mention, the triple threat with the women at Mania night 2 with Rhea, Io, and Bianca. That might be the match of the year as well for WWE. I forgot to mention that earlier. If not the TLC match on SmackDown later that week after Mania. But yeah, anyway, so Io had that match that she was great in. She was in the Rumble, did well in the Rumble. The match with Rhea on Raw was very good, where she won the championship. The Evolution match with Rhea was also awesome. She wasn't really defending the championship after Mania, so it's kind of hard to say she's the wrestler of the year because of that. But then she and Stephanie also had a great match on the pay-per-view on Saturday. I would probably go Hangman, though, because Hangman won the Owen Hart Cup. He had the great matches with MJF at Revolution and Forbidden Door. The match with Ospreay for Double or Nothing was amazing. The match with Moxley was amazing. And the match with Fletcher was fantastic, too. So I would probably go Hangman for Wrestler of the Year. But Io Sky is a very close second. Fernando said, did I hear about Tom Holland cracking the back of his head open? No, I heard he got concussed. Did he crack his head open? That's fucking insane on the set of Spider-Man. So they had to put filming on hold, I think, the rest of this week until next week or last week until this week. It was something like that where he was out of commission for a few days. I didn't hear about him cracking the back of his head open. That's insane. Hopefully he's okay. I just heard he got concussed. But hopefully he's okay. Am I looking forward to Gunther returning? Yes. What he does when he comes back, I don't know. But I am looking forward to Gunther being back. Maybe he works with Punk. Maybe that's what's next for Punk, because Punk beat him. So Gunther coming back looking for revenge, and that being like a little interim feud for the rest of the year until Punk goes back to Rollins, I think that could work, actually. I just don't know when Gunther's going to be back. And he's not off TV, by the way, because they have nothing for him or it's a creative thing. He's off the show because he broke his nose. I don't think you're out for that long with a broken nose. It really shouldn't be that long of an injury, but he's been out since early August, and that was... Excuse me. He's been out for like 6-7 weeks because of that. He should be back soon. I haven't heard a timeline of his return, but when he comes back, working with Punk, I feel like would make sense. What would I like to see be next for Hangman? Fernando asked. I have no idea. Maybe another member of the Don Callis family. I mean, him and Takeshita would be awesome. Takeshita is kind of doing the thing with Okada, so for him to go back after Hangman and then go back to Okada would be weird. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not really sure. What you do with them. They have not set up anyone for Hangman. I can tell you that much. They have set up fucking nobody for Hangman, which is kind of a problem because Wrestle Dream is coming up in like 3 or 4 weeks. So they kind of needed to figure out what they're doing there. I would not run it back with him and Kyle. We've already seen that twice now because they faced off earlier this year in the Owen Hart Cup and Hangman won that too. It would probably have to be Takeshita, even though Takeshita has done nothing to earn an opportunity. He's involved in the international unified title picture right now. I would have said Omega. Grunt was saying Omega, previously. We talked about Omega, but Omega's out right now. he's rehabbing an injury or whatever. So Omega would have been nice, but Omega's, I think, gone for the time being. So that would have been a great all-out match, but they didn't do it. So honestly, I'm not really sure. It's Okada. I don't like the idea of Hangman Okada because Okada's already the unified champion. I would not have him lose that match. Hangman already beat the other fucking mid-card champion in Fletcher. Do we have to put the other unified champion or the other mid-card champion in there with Adam Page as well? I would say no. So I guess we'll find out on Wednesday, hopefully, what's next for Hangman. Johnny said Hangman versus Will is my AEW match of the year. It probably is. It's either that or Hangman versus Moxley. Hangman and Will was a better match, but a better spectacle was Hangman versus Moxley, in my opinion, because it had the story with him finally winning, and that match was amazing. So, either one. My match of the year for AEW is Hangman versus Moxley, but Hangman versus Will was also fantastic. Fernando said, is the Grande Americano stuff getting really old? Yes, it fucking is. I tweeted that last night. I think Ludwig Kaiser does a great job with it. I like Gable doing it, but even when Gable was doing it, there was no fucking progression. I mean, it would have been one thing if they gave him the mega title, but they didn't. They gave it to Dominic. I don't know, man. The Grande stuff, they make you think there's a plan there. They'll do these fancy video packages, and the video packages are great. But then it comes to Raw, and they're still feuding with the same fucking 2 or 3 people. AJ, Dragon Lee. I guess they're waiting until Rey Mysterio comes back, but they have been spinning their wheels with Grande for months. Months. They got to move on. The Grande stuff is very old to me at this point. Johnny said, what do I think Cypher's powers are in Genevieve Season 2? I don't know. I can't reckon a guess, but I imagine it's probably worth the hype. Like, it's probably something pretty bad. Unless he's either got no powers. I mean, he has to have powers. He either has no powers, he's overpowered, or his power just sucks. I think he's overpowered. I feel like it'd be lame to build him up as the big villain of the season, and then he has like no powers, or he has a lame power. It's probably something pretty OP. Placated said, aside from Owen Hart, who do I think had the biggest fall from grace? That's terrible. Let me know if you're actually serious about that question. I mean, I'll answer your question. Your question was, it started out as a terrible, that's awful. Not literal fall from grace, but an actual fall from grace. I mean, there's a lot of people, but Velveteen Dream comes to mind as a recent case because he had everyone praising him, and then he just flushed his entire career down the toilet, and he's not even active anymore. I think he came back for an indie match, and he got canceled again. I don't know. Velveteen Dream comes to mind. There's definitely other ones. I don't know who else I would think of beyond Velveteen Dream, though. Emmanuel A. said, thought I left questions on last week's video, but I guess I forgot. I tried to ask if McIntyre looked weak because I didn't see Wrestlepalooza, but I saw people argue that he lost clean to one Crossroads. He did look dumb, though, because he, injured his leg. I don't know. He did look a little weak. He also looks weak because he constantly goes for these championships and he fucking loses. He has to win at some point. He's got to win soon. But here's the thing. I don't think he looked weak. I would argue that he didn't look weak because he lost to one Crossroads. That should be the case. It seemed underwhelming, but people should be losing to one Crossroads. People should be losing to one Claymore kick. I hate it. I loved Cena and Cody. I thought they had a very good match. What I hated about that match, the people were fucking creaming themselves over. Oh, we kicked out of 5 AAs. That's terrible. I said at the time, that's fucking awful. That bothered me to no end about that match. Because what happens is, when you kick out of 10 AAs and a bazooka, then you get matches like we got on Saturday when they don't do that, and people are like, well, what happened? Well, why did it only take one? Because that's what it should be. 1 or 2 max. 3 in a big match situation, maybe. But then you have Lesnar doing 12 F5s. It's garbage. Fucking stop. Save that shit for the big matches. We don't need 7 AAs or 7 Crossroads on Wrestlepalooza. So, no. He looked dumb for other reasons. McIntyre did. He didn't look dumb because he lost to one Crossroads. That's people just being stupid. That's people just getting spoiled with the 12 AAs at SummerSlam. Who should the CEO face next, Fernando asked? I don't know, but I know she's going to beat Jade's record in a few weeks. So they have to do Placated said it was a real question, but he couldn't help but throw that Owen part in there. That is fucked up, but that I'm not gonna. Okay, it's kind of funny. Has it been long enough to say that joke is funny? He died almost 30 years ago. That is a very fucked up joke, but that's pretty funny. My actual answer to your question would probably be Velveteen Dream, but there's got to be someone else that I'm not thinking of. You know, Ryback had a fall from grace, but that was not really his own fault in the beginning. I would still probably go Velveteen Dream because he could have been like the future. Anyway, to go back to what I was saying earlier about Mercedes, she's going to break Jade's record in a few weeks. I can't imagine the Riho match was it for her until she breaks the record. They got to have her defend it at least one more time on an upcoming Dynamite or something. I don't know who that would be against because she's beaten everyone. Maybe Willow, because Willow, they never had a rematch. She beat Willow for the belt, and they never had a rematch. So maybe Willow. Willow's not doing shit right now. I don't fucking care about Willow teaming with Harley Cameron. Isn't that what they were doing? No, they were doing Chris Statlander and Harley Cameron. Someone asked me a couple weeks ago, oh, do you like that team? No, I don't. Chris Statlander should be doing more than that. I'm glad she's champion. The Harley Cameron, Chris Statlander team is stupid. It was fucking awful. Have Harley team with Anna Jay or anyone else, please. Anyway. With Willow, yeah, maybe Willow's next for Mercedes. I don't really know if you look at the women's roster who's left that she hasn't beaten, like I said. Statlander she already beat twice anyway, so even if she wasn't champion. Tony, no, we just saw that. Maybe Athena, but Athena is still the Ring of Honor Women's World Champion and she's not winning. So yeah, I would say probably Willow. I don't know who else there is that she hasn't already beaten. But she should lose it soon because I don't really know who the end game is for Mercedes Moné. Hikaru Shida, have we seen? No, we did. We got Shida and Mercedes last year at All Out. I did not like that match. I thought that match was kind of disappointing, honestly. So we've already seen Mercedes and Shida, so I forgot about that. It's been so long, I forgot about it. So let's say no to that too. Daniel said, I wouldn't have minded to see Fletcher win at a time when so many top stars are gone and not coming back anytime soon. Now is as good of a time as ever to elevate someone. Yeah, I still think it's too soon for Fletcher. I think Fletcher's great. So the thing is, you say put the belt on Fletcher, but then what? Who does he defend against? Who do you have? You know, him and Briscoe? Like, that's not a world title program. Him and Adam Page again? Like, I guess you could put the belt right back on Adam Page. Here's the thing, too. You have to remember, MJF might be disappearing for right now because he might be going to film a movie. He just lost to Briscoe. He still has that guaranteed title shot. Do they wait a long time for him to cash it in? Maybe. But if Fletcher's champion, he's not cashing in on Fletcher. It would have to be Hangman or another babyface champion. So I'm kind of glad they didn't have Fletcher win because Fletcher's already the TNT champion. Let him focus on that. Build up that title first. He just won that title like a month ago. Like, it's too soon for Fletcher. I'm glad he did not win. He should be focusing on that championship. I just also don't know what's next for Adam Page either. How about Hangman versus Ricochet at Wrestle Dream? That would be a good match. Ricochet, he's lost every other important match he's had in recent months. Why would that make sense? I mean, I guess Fletcher and Hangman was also fucking random, but just because he won a six-man, like he pinned MVP, he pinned MVP, like that doesn't make you credible. That might be where we're going with it. I mean, it'd be better than nothing. I'd rather see Hangman versus Ricochet than Hangman. We already saw Hangman and Josh Alexander. Okada and Hangman I don't want to see because that would make Okada look, it's an unnecessary loss for Okada. Wardlow's out. Well, that would have been a dumb match to do anyway. Takeshita, I'd rather see Hangman and Takeshita, but at least Ricochet won his last match, so you might be onto something. I'm not saying I don't want to see the match. I just don't know really why it makes sense. He won one match against MVP. Maybe he's won other matches, but nothing that was really all that important. So, that could work. Fernando asked, how many times have I been to Orlando? A lot. I went to Orlando as a kid a lot for like Disney and Universal. I've been there twice this year alone. I was there twice in 2017 because I went to Mania that year. That was my first WrestleMania, Mania 33. And I also went to Disney with my family a couple months after that. So I was there twice this year, twice in 2017. I was there earlier last year. Alexis and I went to Disney together for the first time. Disney World. We went to Disneyland previously in 2023. So I've been 5 times in the last 7 years. I had not gone after 2017 until last year. So I've been 5 times in the last 8 years. I went in '07. I went to Disney. I went in '05. I remember those 2 trips. I don't think I went for 10 years until I went in 2017, but I went a few times as a kid. I know I went to Universal as a kid. I definitely went to Disney as a kid. So I've probably been there between 10 and 12 times. Definitely other times as a baby that I don't remember, but I've been to Orlando a lot. I like Orlando. Any movie, let me back up a little bit here. Any movies that Alexis and I plan on watching, Fernando asks? Good question. In theaters, nothing imminent because there's nothing coming out imminently. I want to see the Rock movie. I think that will be good. I mean, we joke about The Rock here. I do think The Smashing Machine will be good. I've heard good things about it. She will probably see that with me. She wasn't really on board initially, but I told her that it's gotten good reviews, and she'll probably watch it with me. That comes out in a few weeks. We definitely want to see Black Phone 2. That's the next movie that we're excited for. That comes out next month as well. So Black Phone 2. We just watched randomly Memento, the Christopher Nolan movie that came out 25, 24 years ago. Great movie. We watched that when we were, I had the Fire Stick on the TV in the hotel. It was right before we left for Universal that night. We watched Memento. Great movie. I was, a channel that I follow is going to be reviewing it soon, so I wanted to watch it for that. And I'd never seen it, and we really liked it. That was with Guy Pearce and a few other people from The Matrix. We just watched that recently, and she also said after we were at Universal, because we did the Jason Voorhees Friday the 13th haunted house at Universal as part of Halloween Horror Nights. She's never seen the first Friday the 13th. And now, to be fair, I didn't either. I've seen a lot of the Friday the 13th movies. I didn't until I watched it myself last year. So she never watched it. We were going to watch it yesterday, but we ran out of time. So I'm hoping in the next... I mean, I like to watch Halloween movies as it gets closer to Halloween, but... You know, Alexis, she will say the same thing. If it's on her mind, she'll want to watch it in the moment. But if a week or two passes, she may not want to watch it anymore, so I would like to watch it soon. It's kind of like a phase thing where she has it in her head that she wants to watch it, we'll watch it soon. But if it passes, if it kind of goes on for too long, we don't watch it in the moment, then she might not want to watch it anymore. So anyway, she wants to watch Friday the 13th soon, the first one from 1980. We just watched Memento, and then theatrically wise, we would like to... Smashing Machine I want to watch, and definitely Black Phone 2. That comes out next month, right before Halloween. Emmanuel A. said, I did see a clip of McIntyre kicking out of an exposed turnbuckle and crossroads spot, though. Yeah, I don't remember exactly what they did. I don't think McIntyre looked weak for that reason. They're playing up the story that the referee has it out for him, even though the referee was out of the ring during his pinfall for a legit reason, because he was like in the way or something. So I don't think McIntyre looked that weak. The only reason I would argue he looked weak is because he constantly complains, but he never actually wins when it matters most. That's what I would say makes him look weak, if anything. Fernando said that I see Mr. Kennedy returned to TNA. I did see that. Unfortunately, I had it spoiled for me ahead of time because I think someone posted that his son was in the audience. And this was before it aired on that Thursday, so I saw it beforehand. But it was still very cool. He's not been in TNA in like 10 years. Now, we did have a quick run in the NWA in like 2019. I remember that, which I enjoyed. There's a lot of comparisons, which he kind of is. LA Knight in a lot of ways is the modern day Mr. Kennedy, but just way more popular. LA Knight and Kennedy actually had a feud/match in the late 2019 days of NWA. So that match actually did happen at one point a few years ago. But he's largely been doing indie stuff and running his own wrestling school. He has not been on a major promotion, if you even consider NWA significant, prior to that since TNA. That was almost 10 years ago. He got fired in early 2016. So I was happy to see him back. I think it was just a one-off, but it does give me hope that he returned to TNA for a one-off. WWE works with TNA. I would love if someone in WWE saw that and they put him in a fucking Rumble. I've only been asking for that for the last 15 fucking years. I would love nothing more than to see that. But we'll see. In Saudi, that would be hysterical. Would the people in Saudi even remember Mr. Kennedy? I mean, you could say the same thing about any crowd, really, but especially in Saudi, would they even fucking know who he is? It would still be cool, though. Daniel said, rip to Owen, but yeah, I chuckled at that comment, not gonna lie. Yeah, that comment was terrible, but I'm not going to lie to you. That was kind of funny. Fernando said, I have to admit it. but it was a funny Owen Hart joke. Well, there you go. They agree as well. Average Grunt said, what do you think about the idea of having Tony take the TBS title from Mercedes? I don't like that at all. We just had a long title run from Tony. Can we just have her without a championship for a while? And also, Mercedes has been champion for so fucking long. Well, here's another thing, too. Mercedes had not been beaten before. Here's the other thing, too. Mercedes had not been beaten before Tony beat her. And I really feel like the first person to have beaten Mercedes really should have benefited from beating Mercedes. Tony Storm did not benefit. I was willing to excuse that. I would not give the second big thing with Mercedes her losing the title. Like, she already suffered her first loss to Tony. Okay, whatever. Tony doesn't really benefit, but whatever. Her losing the title to Tony would be terrible. I'm sorry. Like, their match would be great, but Tony has nothing to gain from holding this. Like, let's not rush into things. I think Mercedes should really lose to someone who could benefit. Willow is doing nothing right now. Willow could benefit from beating Mercedes. Or someone newer, or someone that could, like, isn't really on TV. Deonna Purrazzo, I've just given up on. I don't know what's going on there. I've heard things, but, like, it just seems like they're not going to push her on TV anymore. Yeah, I don't want it to be Tony. I don't like that idea at all. Maria said, was I surprised that the Hurt Syndicate lost at All Out? Not really, because MVP was involved. MVP can eat the loss. He's not a regular wrestler, so he could lose, and it's okay. Ricochet and Gates of Agony really needed that win. If Hurt Syndicate won, then Ricochet and Gates of Agony might as well have just packed it up. I mean, that would have just been stupid. So, yeah, I'm glad they won. They needed that win. I predicted them to win. I wasn't shocked when Hurt Syndicate lost. They should have lost. Monet versus Emi Sakura. They actually did that match. They already did that match a year ago. First of all, I don't want to see it. But they already did that match anyway, I think last year. Johnny said MJF needs to go on a 2 or 3 month honeymoon. He might be. He might legit be going on his honeymoon. I think he's also filming a movie, so he might be gone for a little bit. I'm not sure. But also, you got to consider Omega is out for right now. Swerve is out for a little while. Ospreay's out for a long while. So you can't have all of your top stars disappearing on you. You need at least one of those guys there. I'm not saying MJF can never take time off, but you kind of need him there because he's one of the better parts of the show every week. So I'm not saying he can't go on a honeymoon, but 2 or 3 months seems a little long. Maria said, I think Mark Briscoe had the best singles match in his career on Saturday. He may have. I don't know. I didn't love the match. I hate the stipulation, like the tacks and the tables. It's just so fucking played out. But, yeah, I mean, it was a very good match. He also won, so it might have been his best singles match. I really liked when he won the Ring of Honor title. Who was that from? Claudio? Who did he win the title from? Eddie Kingston? I think it was Eddie Kingston. And that was a great match. I think that was at Super Card of Honor last year. Was I there at that one? Yeah, I think it was at that one. No, wait, he lost that match. I don't remember. No, yeah, he lost that match. I don't think he won it until, like, the next pay-per-view. He lost to Eddie at that show. And then he won it later on, I believe. I don't remember. But I think he lost to Claudio last year. I think he did beat Eddie at Mania Weekend last year, if I'm not mistaken. I think that match might have been better, in my opinion. But still, the MJF match was definitely memorable. Emmanuel said, if we're making morbid jokes, though, I saw a conversation. Oh, God, where is this going? I saw a conversation where someone said, imagine if 9/11 happened today and found people wrestling people found wrestling forums from that month of people making Hulk Hogan photoshops. That is terrible. That is awful. I think I saw the photos on Twitter that you're referring to. I could be wrong, but like big booting the towers, I don't want to. That's just awful. Some of it can be funny, though. I'm not going to lie to you. Some of it's it's very dark. Very dark. Johnny said Riho was far from credible when she got a TBS title shot. No, she was not. That was a random fucking match. So you know what? If Riho could get a TBS title shot, I guess why not Ricochet? But the thing with Riho is that Riho and Mercedes ain't main eventing a pay-per-view. Ricochet and Hangman is. That's not a pay-per-view main event in my book. At least not right now. But if you want to do it, it's a fresh match, so whatever. Maria said Hangman versus Fletcher. Is that a match of the year candidate? Yeah, maybe. It's not match of the year, but for AEW it is. It's not overall match of the year. There's been matches in WWE that were better than that, but it was still a great match. What is my favorite strap match? Good question. Probably, I don't really love the strap match stipulation, but honestly, I think the best strap match I've ever seen, Daniel Bryan, or Bryan Danielson rather, versus Ricky Starks. Phenomenal strap match at All Out 2023. Another match on that show that really exceeded expectations. So it might be that one. Grunt says, still have hope that MJF will come back at the end of the year to continue his feud with Mark Briscoe so he can finally get that dog collar match. You really want that dog collar match, Grunt, and I don't blame you. I'm honestly kind of surprised that Mark Briscoe won that match on Saturday. I guess if MJF is leaving, then it makes sense, but for a little bit. But I was kind of hoping MJF would win so they could do a dog collar match that Mark Briscoe could win. But if they have a dog collar match next time, then MJF would have to win. Mark Briscoe should not be beating MJF twice. I'm sorry. So I don't really get why they did what they did on Saturday unless MJF is taking time off. I think the feud might be over, but I guess we'll see. Daniel said they really should have just made that match on Saturday a dog collar match, but whatever. Daniel said last time I was in Orlando/Disney was in 2020, a week before the shutdown. LOL. I was supposed to go to Disney with my brother the week of the shutdown. We had tickets to Disneyland that I booked months and months in advance, and we had everything all planned out. We were supposed to fly out that fucking Friday. Wednesday happens of that week, and that's when the whole shutdown happens. Everyone freaks out. NBA's over. Tom Hanks has COVID. You can't travel, blah, blah, blah. The world basically shuts down that night. I'm on the phone all of Thursday canceling the trip because I had gotten, it was a logical reason to cancel and not like to get a refund. Because obviously if you cancel for any other reason during any other time of the year, they won't refund you unless you protect your trip. I didn't do that, so I'm like, I hope I get my fucking money back for that. And we did. We didn't have an issue. But I guarantee you, granted that was Disneyland and not Florida, but even Florida shut down eventually, albeit for a month. But Disneyland was closed that day, so we might have gotten stuck. We might have gotten stuck in California. That was one of the smartest things I have ever done, was the next day having the forethought to cancel that trip. Because if we went anyway, we might have gotten stuck there and not been able to travel home. And that would have been really bad. Fernando said, what's your favorite Orlando theme park? Hollywood Studios. Because it's got, Star Wars land. And I like a lot of the aspects of Hollywood Studios. We were just, it had the Muppets area, but that's gone now, unfortunately. Fuck Disney for that. But at least they're retheming Rock and Roller Coaster as the Muppets, which a ride I didn't really care about anyway. So I'm in the minority on that, but I'm happy about that. Yeah, I know, even when we were at Universal, like, we were there. Hold on. The studio just closed. Give me a second here. I think we should still be live. I think the chat just broke on me, though, for some reason. What the fuck? Hold on. Give me a second. We should still be live. All right. Let me know in the chat if you guys are still with me here. For some reason, it got disconnected, but I think we're fine now. I think we're good. For some reason, I think it got interrupted very briefly. But anyway, the Orlando park. Yeah, no, probably Hollywood Studios. Because when we were in Universal, I got I just got the sense that I would like Universal. I don't really care about a lot of their IPs. I don't really care about Despicable Me. SpongeBob at this point is just dog shit. Harry Potter I like. It doesn't really do a lot for me, though. It's not really something like, oh, I need to go for this. Like, I would go for Epic Universe to see Mario World, but that's really about it. All right, Fernando says that he's still with me here. All right, cool. For some reason on my end, the chat cut out, and my whole stream stopped for a second, but... Oh, yeah, Emmanuel said still here. All right, cool. Yeah, for some reason it fucking botched on me, but it looks like we're fine. Yeah, so I would probably say Hollywood Studios. Which cameos do I want to see in Gen V? Well, we already got Starlight. Starlight was in one of the first few episodes, so if we can get Starlight, nothing stopping Homelander from showing up. He showed up in first season. Probably just the main boys cast. Homelander showing up would be cool. I think they showed, what's his name? The fucking fish guy from The Boys. That loser. I think he was in one of the first few episodes of Gen V Season 2 as well. Fernando said Memento is my favorite Nolan movie. That's cool. Yeah, no, we really liked it. I'm not like, Nolan movies are very hit or miss for me. I love Dark Knight. I thought Tenet sucked. I thought Oppenheimer was good. It wasn't like amazing, but it was a very good movie. Interstellar was very good. That was a great movie. We watched Inception. Did not really like it. I could see why people think it's a great movie. I didn't really love that movie. But Memento was great. And Fernando also said I'm a huge fan of the Friday the 13th movies. I'm kind of hoping, my hope is that what I would like to do is try watching all the Friday the 13th movies this year. Now, I would like, my tradition for the last 5 years has been to watch at least one Friday the 13th movie I've never seen before. And I have now seen a majority of them. When I looked at the list last night, I have seen the first one. I have not seen Friday the 13th Part 2. I watched Part 3 2 years ago. I think I've seen 4 because I heard 4 was the best one. So I've watched 1, 3, and 4. I have not seen 2. I don't think I've seen 5, 6, or 7. I think the 8th one is that the Manhattan one? I have the poster right here. Oh, it doesn't say which number it is. Well, it does, but it's being blocked by something. I love the Manhattan one. I don't forgot what 9 is. Isn't that Jason Goes to Hell or something? I haven't seen that one. I have seen Jason X. I've seen Jason versus Freddy, and I've seen the reboot. So I think I've seen most of them. But my hope this year was like, I would love to watch all of them. And they're honestly kind of short movies. I could probably get through them all between now and Halloween. But it depends if Alexis wants to watch it with me. Have a Friday the 13th marathon. A lot of those movies are fucking awful, but like they're so awful that they're good. Like I enjoy them. You know what I mean? Like they're good, bad movies. So maybe I can do a ranking of all the Friday the 13th movies. If I do that, we can rank them all here on the channel in some form or fashion. Daniel said, outside of the mic gimmick and him repeating his name, I thought Mr. Kennedy was mid. I mean, in the ring, the guy was kind of mid, but I loved Kennedy. He was always entertaining to me. I loved the gimmick. I thought it worked. He definitely was mid, but I mean, it's not like LA Knight's the best worker either, so that's why, I enjoyed him. I thought he was a great upper mid-card character. Could he have been a world champion? Yes. In that era, he absolutely could have been, but the whole Money in the Bank thing kind of got fucked over, and we all know the story there. Fresh Fly said, man, I'm late. Hopefully Mercedes will be... Oh, Fresh Fly, well, thanks for joining, even though you're late, but great to see you nonetheless. He also said, hopefully Mercedes will be back in WWE next year so we can see that 4 horsewoman match at Mania for the IC title. Why the fuck would that be for the IC title? That would be for the main women's title, if not just a regular match. It would not be for the IC title. No, I don't think Mercedes goes back to WWE anytime soon. She seems very content with where she's at. She's only been there, like, I would imagine when she went to AEW, she must have signed at least a 3-year deal. And she's only been there for a year and a half. So, to answer your question, she is not going back next year. Unless she did sign a 2-year deal, I don't think she did. She'll probably, at the very least, be back in 2027, and even that's not a guarantee. I would say probably not, anytime soon. Fernando said, have we seen the last of Jericho in AEW? Honestly, I think so. Because I was thinking this while watching All Out. If Jericho doesn't show up in Toronto, I know he's from Winnipeg, you idiot, but if he doesn't show up in Toronto, I don't think he comes back at all. Like, why would he not come back in Canada? Why would he not have been back by now? Especially if his contract is up in the next couple of months. I really fucking hope he... I mean, here's the thing. I want him to come back to AEW, but not to re-sign. I want him to come back to put over Big Bill. If his last appearance is just shitting on Big Bill and Brian Keith and not blowing off the learning tree shit, what an absolute fucking waste of time. I mean, fuck that company for wasting Big Bill's time and Brian Keith's time. They benefited zero from being in that group. To not have Big Bill give Jericho his comeuppance, fuck Jericho for not doing that sooner. I mean, why the fuck would Jericho leave and then not have Big Bill attack him on the way out? That at least would have made more sense. He called Big Bill an idiot and then left. And then we never saw him again. I don't really want Jericho to re-sign, mind you. And if he does come back, he might have re-signed, which would be terrible. But I don't understand why you would do that. I think he should come back to put over Big Bill and then leave. I don't know if Tony Khan's going to want to do that. I don't know if Jericho wants to do that. Should AEW cool it with the gimmick matches? Yes, they do way too many of them to the point where they just don't mean anything. Johnny said, better dog collar match, FTR versus Briscoes or MJF versus Punk? Great question. I'm going to say MJF and Punk, but FTR and Briscoes was also excellent. I'm going to say MJF and Punk, but FTR and Briscoes, if you say that one was better, I wouldn't argue with it. MJF and Punk, in my opinion, was better. Grunt said, I legit thought Jericho was the one who was going to come out after Eddie's match, and it ended up being Hook. So yeah, I'd say Jericho is done. Yeah, exactly. If he wasn't back in that spot, he's probably done. And then Hook got no reaction anyway. Grunt said, I put FTR and Briscoes over Punk and MJF personally. Yeah, like I said, if you argue that, I don't blame you. But I would say Punk and MJF was better, but they're both pretty equal. They're both great matches. Yeah, exactly. Johnny said 2020 was a year for the ages. It definitely was. Have they been to the Tower of Terror in Orlando, Fernando asked. Yes, I have only done it all of one time. I do not like rides like that. Well, actually, I'll give you a funny story here. I don't like the drop rides like that. I did that once. I don't know fucking why I did it, but I went on with some family members when I went in 2017. Maybe just to say that I tried it. And as soon as it was over, I'm like, I'm never doing that again. I did not enjoy that. I did not like the anxiety around like, oh, like it's going to drop. It's going to drop any second now. The funny story about that is I did it again, not in Orlando though. I did the Guardians version in California. And like I said, I don't like the drop rides. But the way the Guardians one goes, like it's first of all not scary or whatever. Not that Tower of Terror is scary, but it's got the anxiety element to it. I fucking hate that. The Guardians one is more fun. It's got a great soundtrack. It's not scary. Like you feel the pit of your stomach kind of go up when, with all the shit going on with the fucking drops and stuff. I just enjoyed that ride a lot more. I really enjoyed that ride. And then I went back on a second time that same night with my brother when it was like the dark version because it was Halloween time. I thought that was cool. It's like a monster's coming after you or some shit. I thought that was fun. And then it went on again with Alexis when we went to Disneyland the following year. And I enjoyed it that time too. Alexis loves Tower of Terror. We went to Disney together a year and a half ago, Disney World. And I did not go on, one, because I was interviewing Bianca and Montez over Zoom on my phone at that point. But two, I had no inclination or no interest in going on, so she went on by herself. And she didn't care. She went on by herself and enjoyed it. She also went on, when we went to Disney back in June, she went on with another friend that was there with us. I did not go on. I just refused. I did have no interest. I will go on the Guardians version, but I will not go on the Orlando version. Gianni, I feel like you've asked me this before, but I'll answer it again. He asked, have I tried In-N-Out? Yes, I think In-N-Out is awesome. I love In-N-Out. First of all, it's cheap. Awesome. And second of all, I like the burgers there. I got it with my brother when I went to California in 2022. Tried it then, thought it was great. Got it again with Alexis the following year when we went to Mania 39 in California. Thought it was great again. And we got it again earlier this year after Mania, or Raw rather. I met up with some friends at In-N-Out on the Vegas Strip. Thought it was great and really enjoyed it then too. So yes, I love In-N-Out. Especially since it's like special because it's a West Coast thing or whatever, so we don't have it here. Whataburger is also very good. Alexis prefers Whataburger over. She prefers Whataburger over In-N-Out. Whataburger is also great, but I prefer In-N-Out. Maybe just because In-N-Out's cheaper, but I like them both a lot. Thank you all for letting me know that you could still see me, that the streaming is going well. I appreciate that. For some reason, it got interrupted on my end for some reason. Maybe I lost internet for like a split second. Anyway, Johnny said the Prestige was good. I have not seen it. Johnny also said, have you seen Child's Play? Is that the Chucky movie? Is that the Chucky movie or the remake they did? I haven't seen any of the movies. We watched the Chucky show, if that's what you're talking about. We watched the Chucky show because it was on after NXT a few years ago. It was just on, so we left the TV on. We ended up getting sucked into it. That show is fucking terrible. And I heard a lot of rave reviews about it. We were in the minority. I thought that show was absolute ass cheeks. All 3 seasons of it. I'm so glad it got canceled. That show is terrible. But I have not seen any of the movies, though. Fernando said Friday the 13th 4, the final chapter, is the best one. I think that's why I watched it. Is that if episode 4, if part 4 is the one with Crispin Glover from Back to the Future, then I saw that one. I watched that about 3 years ago because I looked up an article ranking all the Friday the 13th movies. I wanted to watch the best one, so I watched that one. I mean, even that movie wasn't great. But of all the movies, it probably is the best one. Good kills, stuff like that. So if that's the one with Crispin Glover, then I've seen that one. Daniel said, is there any interview that you had reservations about that turned out better than expected? Good question. A lot of them, honestly. You know what? You know what? The biggest one that comes to mind, I've told this story a lot, but I'll keep it quick here. Goldberg. When I interviewed Goldberg 10 years ago for the first time, this was before he went back to WWE. He was intimidating as fuck, but it turned out to be a good interview. And then anytime I talked to him after that, not that he remembered me, but anytime that I talked to him when he was in WWE, I had an interview with him in 2020, 2021, 2022. The first few were over the phone. The latter few were over Zoom. He was great. Honestly, Goldberg turned out to be one of my favorite people I've ever interviewed. He was very welcoming, not intimidating at all. He was a lot of fun to chat with. Yeah, so Goldberg was someone I had like zero expectation for. I thought he'd just be a dick and give terrible answers like a Braun Breaker. But he ended up giving very good answers and being a great interview. He was a lot of fun to chat with. There's been a lot of people like that, but that's the first one that comes to mind. Fernando said, rank Freddy, Jason, Chucky, Leatherface, and Myers. Oh, and Ghostface. Okay, so you gave me 6 of them. I would go Jason 1, Michael Myers 2. Those are my 2 goats. Chucky is last. Chucky's a fucking goof. Chucky's last. Leatherface 5th. Freddy 3rd. Ghostface 4. So from worst to best, I'd go Chucky, Leatherface, Ghostface, because I like the Scream movie, or at least one of the more recent Scream movies was good. The New York one was good. The one that came out in 2022 was terrible. And the first one's a classic, so. Yeah, I'll say dead last Chucky, fuck Chucky. 5th Leatherface, 4 Ghostface, 3 Freddy. Never really loved Freddy, but he is one of the more iconic villains. 2 Michael Myers, and Jason is 1. I think you can interchange Michael Myers and Jason, but I think I like Jason a little bit more. Also, I'll show you guys something. When we were at Halloween Horror Nights the other day, Alexis bought a lot of the Wyatt Six shit, obviously. And she also bought a Freddy Fazbear thing from Five Nights at Freddy's. I got a Halloween Horror Nights Wyatt Six like magnet. I put it on my car, so I can't show you that. I don't have it. It's outside. But I also bought this as well. It was kind of cheap too. It was only like $10. Look at this. Yeah, it was only $10 according to the back. A nice coaster. A fucking Jason coaster. I have a sign too that I bought that someone made that says "Gone camping" with Jason's mask on it, and placed the well, look at that. It's a nice like coaster. It's a Jason coaster, and it's got the Halloween Horror Nights in the back. Isn't that cool? I wanted to buy something Friday the 13th, and I didn't really like the shirt that they had. Nothing had Friday the 13th on it because there's a whole legal dispute there. I'm aware of all of that. I didn't really like a lot of the stuff that they had, but I saw that coaster and I'm like, that's a fucking nice coaster. So I bought that and a Wyatt Six magnet when we were there the other day. Who benefited the most from Jericho's AEW run, Daniel said. Aside from Jericho himself, because that would be the first answer. I would say Sammy, because Sammy was like a nobody before he linked up with Jericho, but like Sammy's also been a complete non-factor for the last 2 years or so. But he was a much bigger star. I want to say Sammy, probably Sammy. Daniel Garcia didn't really benefit at all. Jake Hager got a paycheck out of it. If it wasn't for Jericho, Hager would not have even worked there. Santana Ortiz benefited initially, and then they just faded out. And now Santana's in TNA doing great work, and Ortiz is not even on the show. Who else? Adam Page, like he beat Adam Page, but it's not like Adam Page got over because of Jericho. He got over because of Omega and his own shit and whatever. Not Adam Cole, not Ricky Starks, not Big Bill, not Brian Keith, probably Sammy Guevara, and even that's not a great answer because he's not even on the show anymore. Like Guevara is barely on AEW television. He's really been relegated to Ring of Honor. So the answer is Sammy Guevara, but even then, that's not a great example because he's a fucking bum these days. So I guess the answer is really Jericho himself. Emmanuel said, I remember you put Kennedy's U.S. title reign at B in a tier list video. He never defended it for the 1 month that lasted, though. Oh, is that true? Okay, I must have been mistaken then. I should not have put it at B. I just remember Kennedy being U.S. champion. I wasn't watching the product at the time, but when I think of the U.S. title, he's not the first person I think of. But I think he beat Benoit for it, did he not? Or he lost it to Benoit. Did he beat Finlay for it? It was some shit like that. I probably should have put it at C. I also thought his reign lasted longer than it did. So that was a mistake on my part. I probably should not have put it at B. But it was a nice stepping stone for him. He won Money in the Bank the following year, so at least there was that. Johnny said, You going to try Shake Shack's French onion dip sour burger, soup burger, and onion rings? No, that sounds disgusting. I like onion rings, but what the fuck is a French onion soup burger? I like Shake Shack. I would not eat that. That sounds disgusting. Did I watch and enjoy Freddy vs. Jason? Yes. I have seen it a few times. I watched it the first time, I saw it on TV when I was a kid, but I watched it in full again in 2017 and enjoyed it. I feel like I've watched it again since then. Maybe not, but I did like it. I liked Freddy vs. Jason. It wasn't honestly, it was one of the better Jason movies I've seen. Same thing with Freddy, but yeah, I like the movie. It wasn't like entirely Freddy versus Jason. They don't really have a whole lot of interaction against each other, which is kind of lame, but I still like the movie for what it was. Okay, yeah, Child's Play 1988 was the first Chucky movie. I have not seen it. I have no intention to. I don't care about Chucky. Wow, Grunt just said Cena versus Styles confirmed for Perth. Holy shit. Let me pull up Twitter here. So they're just going off of fucking Twitter now. Let me see. They were just going off of like, oh yeah, I want to face it. Oh, the fans say you blah blah blah, like whatever. I guess they're just going off of sorry, I'm looking at Twitter right now. I guess they're just going off of, oh yeah, this person wanted to face me. Let's do it. Blah 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 blah. Okay, I guess. I mean, whatever. Let's see. I'm not seeing anything on Twitter that it's been confirmed for Perth. I just see that AJ has accepted it, but have they said that it's happening in Perth? I haven't seen that. Let me check WWE's Twitter. I have no doubt that it will be. Yeah, I'm not seeing that it's confirmed for Perth. They probably will do it there. That's so funny. If Cena was like, if all it took was a tweet to get a match made, then why the fuck haven't they done that for the rest of the retirement tour? You know, like why haven't, I mean, at least we're getting it at all, because Cena made it sound like previously that we weren't getting it after he hit Logan Paul at the Styles Clash at whatever it was, Clash in Paris. They made it sound like they weren't doing the match. Hey, you know what? At least they're fucking doing it. Triple H tweeted it, Daniel said. Am I blocked by Triple H? Let's see. Let's check out Triple H's Twitter. Let's see here. Hold on. Yeah, there it is. John Cena versus AJ Styles is a match we all want to see, and at Crown Jewel, we will. That is fucking hilarious. He made it official 16 minutes ago. That is hysterical. And that's all it takes for us to get, because John Cena is like, he literally said in his tweet, I don't choose my opponents, but I will. But even through tough times, I always listen to the fans. Well, if you listen to the fans, then you wouldn't have turned heel in the first place, you idiot. You're like, you know what I mean? Like, bro, this retirement tour makes no sense. I'm glad we're getting the match. I'm not complaining. But if that's all it takes, then, like, is anyone clamoring for Brock versus Cena? No, like, that wasn't because the fans wanted it. Like, fuck you. Oh, my God, this shit makes no sense. Remember that. Remember that when Cena says he always listens to the fans, and so does Triple H. Remember that when they booked John Cena versus fucking Brock Part 2, Park 25 for his final match, or John Cena versus God knows who else. That's just so funny to me. Hey, they're doing it. I'm just happy they're doing it. Can't complain. I'm just happy they're fucking doing it. Daniel, yes, I did say my block by Triple H. I say that it wasn't on my timeline. That is not a joke. I am blocked by Shawn Michaels. I am blocked by Shawn Michaels on Twitter. And I have been told by various people, and it's not a me thing, someone else handles Shawn Michaels' account. Shawn Michaels doesn't even tweet from his own fucking account. Whoever handles it does. I don't know if that person blocked me, or if they just, like, sometimes you get blocked for being included in a certain, like, thread or something, even though you never said anything. I never said anything salacious about Shawn Michaels. Nothing. And I found out I was blocked by his account 3 years ago. I've met Shawn. I've interviewed Shawn. Nice guy. He has no fucking clue who I am. I doubt he blocked me himself. Yeah, I am blocked by Shawn Michaels, though. I don't wear that as a badge of honor. It's just random. I wish he would unblock me. It actually makes it harder for me to find out what's... This is so dumb. It makes it harder for me. I mean, when you go to people's account now, you can see what they tweet. So, like, even if you're blocked by someone, you can still see what they posted. But I have to go out of my way to see that shit. If Shawn Michaels tweets something, it's not on my fucking timeline because I don't follow him because he's fucking blocked me. His account has blocked me. It's blocked for me. So if there's any NXT announcements, I have to see it from WWE or Ava or someone else. I don't follow Ava, but like if it's reposted. If someone retweets Shawn Michaels, I can't fucking see it because he has me blocked. His account has me blocked. Okay, yeah, Fernando said yes, part 4 of Friday the 13th is the one with the guy from Back to the Future and Corey Feldman. Okay, it is. So, yeah, I looked at that last night, but I forgot which number was which. Yeah, part 4 I heard was the best one. I did watch that one. I did like that one. Johnny said in Gen V, he wants to see Kimiko, Frenchie, Huey, Marvin, and Queen Maeve appear in Gen V. Yeah, any of those, I forgot who Marvin is, but I remember the other ones. Any of them would be cool. To my knowledge, has Kevin Owens had neck surgery yet? I don't think so, Daniel. I don't think so, because he said that recently he hasn't had it yet, and I feel like if he did, that he wouldn't be like tweeting some of the stuff that he does. We see him at some of these shows and whatnot. I just don't think he's had the neck surgery yet, which sucks, which means that he is no closer to returning, which is awful. Maria said, very nice coaster. Thank you very much. Johnny said, after seeing Jurassic Express reunion, I don't want to see the Acclaimed reunite. I don't either. I mean, they just broke up fucking months ago. At least Jurassic Express was broken up for over 3 years. Acclaimed just broke up in March. And the whole reason why they broke up was because the team by the end fucking sucked. I mean, they were doing the whole scissor thing with Billy Gunn. It's so played out. It's so cringy and stupid. And people will eat that shit up. I hope not. I hope they don't go back to doing the scissor crap. If they turn them heel and they don't do the scissor garbage, then maybe. The scissor shit got so old 5 years ago. We need to move on. It is so bad. And please keep Billy Gunn the fuck away from those two. The fact they just gave up on the Anthony Bowen singles push is hilarious to me because he actually had potential. And then Caster was also kind of getting over on his own through the open challenge. And they fucking pulled the plug on that too. That's terrible. At least they're in the tag team division, so at least they have another team. What's the best tag team reunion I've seen? I don't know. When the Shield reunited, and it's not really a tag team, but anytime the Shield reunited, I thought was great. There's been a lot of them. I liked when Miz and Morrison got back together. The reunion itself was kind of whatever. It was kind of, lazy, but I liked when Miz and Morrison reunited after 10 years. I'm sure there's other ones. I can't really think right now, but yeah, I'm trying to think of some of my favorite teams and like when they reunited and shit. I don't know. The Team Hell No reunion was cool when that was done back in 2018. That was fun because they were apart for like 5 years. That was cool. Yeah, I can't think of like one right off the top of my head. Maria said, do I think Bo Dallas is doing a good job? To me, he is just doing a cosplay of his brother Bray. I think he's doing a good job. He is doing a cosplay of Bray for sure, but he is fucking Bray. So, I mean, he looks exactly like him and sounds like him, so he's doing a good job. I don't really think they're giving him enough to do. That's kind of my problem. I wish they would give him more to do. They were giving him a lot to do last year, and then they just fell off the face of the fucking earth. And now we're seeing more of him lately in the tease of the split with the Profits. I dig that. That's kind of cool. But yeah, I mean, it could be, he should be doing more. The most, I assume you mean expensive, Maria said. The most expensive restaurant that I took Alexis to. I don't know. McDonald's? I kid. She can probably answer that question. We're not really fancy restaurant people. So we went to, this doesn't really count. We went to a steakhouse this year in Vegas. She doesn't eat steak. I like steak, but we didn't go to there for that reason. I was working with a company during Mania that was, I was writing a story for Mania, during Mania for this company. And so were a few other outlets. And they were gracious enough to allow Alexis to come with me and whatever. And they took us out for dinner a lot throughout the weekend, but specifically first at the steakhouse at the Bellagio, which is where we were staying. Very expensive steakhouse. Everyone's dressed to the nines and shit. I'm in fucking shorts and a wrestling shirt, whatever. And, I mean, so was everyone else that was with us, so I wasn't the only one. Because I didn't know where we were going. I didn't know what this was until we got there. That place was so expensive, but I didn't pay for a dime of it. The company did. The company that we were with and everyone else was there with, all these different outlets, they paid for everything. So people were getting drinks that were like $150. We got one of the cheapest items on the menu, chicken. We got like a chicken breast for $50 each. And then they had steaks on the menu that were like $700. There were people there. I mean, I don't remember exactly. Alexis said she did, but there were people that were ordering steaks that were like hundreds of dollars, like a fucking $300 steak. It was insane. That had to have been the most expensive restaurant we have ever been to. We did go to a restaurant in New Haven a few years ago that was expensive, that we went to with my friends. That was definitely expensive. I forgot what it was called. That might be the most expensive restaurant I've ever brought her to, but we don't really like those type of places anyway. But that steakhouse I didn't pay a dime for, that is easily the most expensive place we've ever been to, and the chicken was good. I liked the chicken. She didn't like it as much, but just the fact that we were there was a wild experience. We did a lot of shit that weekend, and we were like, what the fuck is even going on here? Like, this was crazy. And the fact that the company like paid for it and everything that we were there with was very nice. As far as the Shake Shack burger, Johnny said, it's a burger topped with something cheese, Guyver cheese, whatever that is, caramelized onions, crispy sweet onions, not actually a soup burger. Okay, that sounds decent. I'm not going to try it, but that sounds decent. I'm a very basic bitch. I just get a very basic burger from Shake Shack and whatever, and I like it, but that doesn't sound bad. I like onions and I like cheese, so that doesn't sound too bad. Emmanuel said about Kennedy as U.S. champion. Kennedy won a triple threat against Finlay, who was the champion, and Bobby Lashley. Lost it to Chris Benoit after interference from The Undertaker. He fought Undertaker at No Mercy during the reign, but it was a non-title. Oh, okay, I forgot about that. I mean, the fact he was even U.S. champion while he was feuding with Taker is pretty cool, though, so. I would probably switch it to B, or C if I put it in the B category. I'd probably switch it to C, because he didn't defend it at all, but the fact that he was feuding with Taker during that reign is pretty fucking cool. So, I mean, honestly, the fact that it's in B, maybe low B, might make more sense. What did I think of Cope paying tribute to Cena at All Out? Thought it was great after Cena paid tribute to him on SmackDown recently. I thought that was very cool. Is this the worst retirement I've ever seen? Retirement tour I've ever seen? No, it can't be the worst. I mean, how many retirement tours do we see in wrestling? It is not ideal. Is it the worst? I can't say it's the worst, because we got that great Cody match, the great Logan match, and great promos. The heel turn itself was well done. The heel run sucked. It can't be the worst retirement tour I've ever seen. It can't be. Is it on the list? Maybe, yes. Botched? Yes. Worst ever? Can't be. Emmanuel A. said, the casual fans, trademark, wanted Brock Cena, apparently. According to Triple H, if you ask Triple H, that's what he would tell you. Maria said, Beth Cope versus Megan Bayne, and Beth versus Marina would be sweet to watch. I don't give two fucks about Marina Shafir. She bores me to tears. But Beth Cope versus Megan Bayne, I'd like to see that. Johnny said, my affiliation with Bleach Report apparently led them to block me. You say that, but like random fans have been blocked by Shawn Michaels. So it's not just a media thing or a Bleacher Report thing. It's a randomized. Because like I said, I never said, like, why the fuck would he go out of his way to block me or whoever runs that account? It was very random. Daniel said, I think I'm blocked by Teddy Long, who got caught in that blocking spree fire when he was on. You know what's funny about that? I was already blocked by Teddy Long before that point, and I don't know why. I wasn't blocked previously. I can say that I was blocked by Teddy Long because of the blocking spree that he was on a few years ago, but I was already blocked prior to that point. I don't know why, because I've met him before. He was a nice guy. I've never said anything bad about Teddy Long, and I found out I was blocked by his account. It might be one of those things because I'm a journalist or a media person. I don't fucking know. Let me see if I'm still blocked now, because like you said, he went on a blocking spree, and he blocked like everybody. And I feel like he ended up unblocking a lot of people because of that. I'm trying to find his account. Teddy Long Twitter. I don't think he's on Twitter anymore, right? I think he deleted his account. He may have deleted his account. Yeah. I don't know if he's on Twitter. So then I can't say I'm blocked by him anymore because I can't find his account. There you go. Anyway, Maria said, why would you be blocked by Triple H or Shawn Michaels and Triple H? It's not like you badmouth them or ever say anything controversial. Well, even if I said anything controversial or badmouth them, they don't run their own accounts. I mean, specifically Shawn Michaels. Triple H I have doubts over, but if you went on your Twitter right now, Triple H specifically does not fucking read the replies. I guarantee you of that. If you went on your Twitter, Shawn Michaels maybe, or whoever runs that account, I think the Shawn Michaels thing was just random. I'm not blocked by Triple H. But like a lot of the higher ups, like Triple H and like the WWE account, they don't block people. Like you could go on Twitter and say WWE is a fascist company, or call quote Triple H and call him a Nazi or something. Whoever runs that account will not block you because they're probably not looking at their mentions. Shawn Michaels evidently did, but even then, I've never said anything bad. I just feel like I got stuck. Whoever runs his account probably went, like, you can block certain words that people say. I don't know. I got locked up in something. I would love to be unblocked just to be unblocked. I used to be, funny story, I've sold the story before. I used to be blocked by Baron Corbin a very long time ago. And I loved Baron Corbin. I never said anything bad about the guy, so I'm not really sure why I would have been blocked. Maybe because I was a media person, whatever. This would have been like 2016, 2017. I found out I was blocked by Baron Corbin, and I don't know why. I met Baron Corbin the following year. I met Baron Corbin, and he was cool. I met Baron since then. I told this story to him since then. But I met him at a fan access signing, and I told him, hey, I'm blocked. I didn't say this like directly, but we were cool, and I got to the point where I was like, hey, I'm blocked on Twitter. He goes, why? I go, I don't know. I'm a fan of yours. He goes, what's your handle? I said, at WrestleRant. And he goes, okay, sounds good. I'll see to it or something. And then I was like, later that day, a couple days later, whatever, I was still blocked. Someone tweeted him, letting him know, like, hey, like, I think I tweeted the picture or something. Someone tweeted him saying, hey, can you unblock at WrestleRant, whatever. He just met you, whatever. And then Baron Corbin actually unblocked me. And I've been unblocked ever since. So that was cool. That was cool. Baron Corbin blocked me for whatever reason. Didn't know who the fuck I was. And then unblocked me anyway, which was very nice a few months later, or a couple days after I met him. Yes, Richie, we are still live. I am going to be wrapping up any minute now, but I am still live, shockingly. We have been here for a very long time. These streams, man, I mean, we're here for like, I think I'm going to be here for like an hour or two max, but then it turns into like a 3-hour stream, a fucking marathon. It typically is, but we have a lot of fun here on these Tuesday streams, so I appreciate all the feedback and the conversation and you guys tuning in. Like the video if you haven't already. Like Richie said, 1 like on the stream equals 1 less Corbin Twitter block. I agree. But yeah, he said he had a boatload of work to do, so he got sucked away for a bit. Well, I'm glad you're back, Richie. Thank you for joining for the last couple minutes here of the video. Fernando said, would you book the Profits to break up or stay together? Both. I would break them up, but keep them together. Not have one turn on the other, but I would have them go their separate singles paths and keep them friends and then team up occasionally, but try out Montez on his own, please. It is at least 5 years overdue. At least. It's fucking ridiculous, but yeah, I would break them up, but keep them together as friends without having one turn on the other. Which wrestling book did I read first, Fernando asked? The first wrestling book I ever read was Ted DiBiase's The $1 Million Man's. Read it when I was in 8th grade. I got it, I think, for Christmas or something like that. And then I read Batista's autobiography after that in 2009 when that came out. Funny story, we had to do a book report for my freshman year of, in my English class in freshman year of high school. And we had to do an autobiography, a book report and autobiography. I wanted to do it on Bob Barker because Bob Barker had just hosted Raw. And he had just hosted Raw, plugging his book, actually. That's why he hosted Raw. And I really wanted to get the book. It wasn't at Barnes & Noble. But I did find Batista's book. So I pitched that as the book that I wanted to do. You had to like run it by my teacher. My teacher was like, okay, that's fine. Like professional wrestler, a little strange, but okay. And he ended up approving it. And honestly, it was one of my favorite projects I've ever done. I got an A on it. I love the book, and I've been reading wrestling autobiographies ever since. So the first wrestling auto I read was Ted DiBiase's, but my first like major one that got me into the other ones was Batista's. And he actually signed that book for me, I think. Or no, he signed the DVD for me. I'm sure I have the book somewhere. But I have his DVD, and I told him that story when I met him years later, like a decade later, and he signed the DVD for me. Yeah, Batista's the man. Do you get a lot of commercials while watching Palooza? Yes. I did after every match. It's the same thing on Peacock internationally or fucking Netflix, whatever. Absolute garbage. The whole point of a pay-per-view should be not to get commercials, not to get commercials after every match. Completely ruin the flow of the show. Emmanuel A. said, a random comment, but my brother and I used to think Subway and Burger King were top-tier restaurants growing up. I mean, are they not? I kid. I'm not a big, if I had to go, like, favorite fast food place of, like, Burger King and Wendy's and shit, I go McDonald's. McDonald's deals are incredible, and it's all the same food to me. I do like Subway. I still get Subway occasionally. I like Subway a lot. I like McDonald's. Those are my top two, but they're not exactly fine dining, of course. I will not sit here and tell you that, but I do frequent Subway and McDonald's for sure. Burger King, I guess it's just a location thing. There's not really one in the area. Same thing with Wendy's, but I will go to either one if I have to. I like both, but I prefer McDonald's. Daniel said, it was funny when Shawn Michaels' account got caught liking women's photos, and that's when Shawn Michaels came out like, hey, I don't run my account. Yeah, I forgot about that. That was funny. What did I think of Tailgate Brawl? Johnny said it was a waste of time. It was a perfectly fine pre-show. The women's match, Tailgate Brawl, was fine. It did nothing to make anyone want to watch the pay-per-view. At least it was an hour long, but there were several matches on there, like the fucking Workhorsemen versus the Ops. Who gives a shit? Who fucking cares, man? The Frat House versus the Conglomeration. Again, what are we fucking doing? That was just a waste of time, but otherwise, it was fun. At least it was an hour and it wasn't 2 hours, an hour and a half. I'll say that much. At least it was short. Placated said, where has Anna Jay been? I don't know. She was on the show pretty frequently. I mean, she was on recently, wasn't she? Wasn't she in a tag team match a couple of weeks ago on Collision? But she was teaming pretty consistently with Ty Mello, whatever, and then they haven't been on the show in a few weeks, so I don't know. W. Baron Corbin, indeed. Last WWE theme was fire, Placated said. You talking about Baron Corbin? It was. That theme that he had? Or not the last theme. Actually, well, are you talking the NXT theme? The whole Burn the Ships one? That was good. I'm talking the End of Days one. The End of Days theme song was amazing. That's one of the best themes in the last 10 years. Daniel said, Bob Barker is goated, also loved him in Happy Gilmore. So another funny story for you to play off of the story I was just talking about, the Bob Barker one. I didn't get that Bob Barker book because I got the Batista one instead. I always wanted to read the Bob Barker book. So I bought the Bob Barker book, I think 2 years ago from Amazon or something. And I'm actually in the process of reading it right now. I started a few years ago, never finished it. And I read like a fucking 100 pages of the Bob Barker book while we were away this weekend on the plane because I didn't have internet. So I'm like, I could just fucking read. So I read several chapters in my Bob Barker book. So the book that I was going to read 16, 17 years ago, I finally started reading recently. I started reading it right before he died, actually, a few years ago. And he was just about to turn 100. He was like a few months away, and then he fucking died, which was really sad. I was hoping he would make it to 100. Goated Bob Barker. But I'm hoping he talks about Happy Gilmore in the book. He's going through his life and Price is Right, Truth and Consequences, and his upbringing and shit, his mom. But he hasn't mentioned Happy Gilmore yet. So I'm hoping he talks about that because that is a goated fucking role in that movie. I love when he goes, I love when Happy goes, now you're gonna get it, Bobby. I love that part of the movie, or that part of the scene. He goes, Price is wrong, bitch. And then after Bob Barker beats the shit out of him, he goes, I think you've had enough. Then he walks away and he turns around and goes, bitch. He's got that fucking accent, like that Missouri accent or whatever. And he goes, I think you've had enough, bitch. Fucking amazing movie and a great scene. I love that scene. Sometimes I'll just randomly go to YouTube and find that short of him of Happy going, now you're going to get it, Bobby. Psycho, what's going on, brother? He said, GSM, what's poppin' loppin'? It's lopping and it's popping, Psycho. Hope you're doing well. We're getting out of here in a couple of minutes. You guys are joining right here at the tail end, but great to see you nonetheless. Denny's or TGI Fridays, Fernando asked. Neither. I used to go to TGI Fridays a few times as a kid. I think my mom fucking hated it, so we never went back. But I think I went once with my dad soon after that. I have not been back since. It's pretty basic. I probably would still choose... I would go to TGI Fridays for lunch or dinner. I would go to Denny's for breakfast. I've been to Denny's a couple times. I wasn't really impressed. It was fine. It was good, but if I had a choice, I'd probably go to TGI Fridays. Emmanuel A. said, rip $5 footlongs. You know what I didn't know? I thought those died within the last few years. They've actually been gone for fucking 15 years. They have not done the $5 footlongs in a very, very, very long time. I didn't know they've been out of commission for that long. Steak and Shake or Sonic? I don't know if I've ever been to a Steak and Shake. I know what it is. I've never been there. I've been to Sonic before a few times. I think mostly for the ice cream. So we'll just go Sonic. I feel like I got food there recently. Not recently, but in the last few years. I'll go Sonic. If I had a choice, I'd go Sonic. Any place that sells... I like steak, but I will not... If it's like homemade steak, I'll have steak, but like to go out and buy it, I don't really care that much about steak. So the answer is Sonic. Psycho asked thoughts on Harley Cameron. I could see why she's very popular. I've never really been a fan. The whole, like, I just feel like she tries too hard and she's like, it's very annoying to me. I'm in the vast minority on that. People love her. They find her funny, very entertaining. I get it. Totally fine. I get the appeal there. I don't really get it. I think a lot of it's cringy and not entertaining at all. I'm in the vast minority in Harley Cameron. I don't give a fuck about Harley Cameron, but I do applaud her effort to get herself over. I think that's cool. AEW didn't really do enough to capitalize on that. They gave her the match with Mercedes, and then that was it. And then she got hurt or something soon after. But I applaud the idea that she's gotten herself over. But Harley herself, I've just never really been a fan, personally. Have I seen any of Robert Redford's movies? Yes. 2. This is going to sound dumb. When he died last week, I'm like, oh, that's the guy from Winter Soldier and the cameo from Endgame. Legitimately, I think the only Robert Redford movies I've ever seen. I'm sure I've seen other ones, maybe. Maybe I'm not so sure. But my favorite is Winter Soldier. I love Winter Soldier, the Captain America 2 movie, and his cameo in Endgame. The fact they brought him back for that was sick. Other than that, I don't think I've seen him in anything else. I know he's been in a shit ton of movies, but that's really all that I know him from. That's really all that I know him from. Daniel said, after 17 years, Graham finished the story. Yes, I did. I'm all about finishing the story. I mean, I try to finish the story with everything. Any unfinished business, I try to finish stories. I know it's like a cliche at this point, but seriously, if it's stuff that like, oh, I've always wanted to do this from years ago, I'll do it now. What's the harm? That was one of them. I have not finished the book, but I have finished the story by buying the Bob Barker book. Ideal topping on a burger. This is going to sound lame, but Johnny, it is ketchup. I will eat a cheeseburger. I like cheeseburgers, but typically it's just ketchup. I like onions too, but normally it's just ketchup. I'm very fucking boring. What the fuck is up, Denny's? Richie said. What is that from? I don't understand the reference. Favorite Sandler movie? Great question. Happy Gilmore. I enjoy. Billy Madison is so fucking dumb. We've said that before here on this show. Richie knows what I'm talking about. We talked about that recently when I saw him. I actually just rewatched it with Alexis. She thought it was one of the worst movies she's ever seen, unsurprisingly. It is not a good movie, but it's funny. I enjoy the humor in that movie. Big Daddy's also great. I watched that basketball movie Hustle that came out a few years ago recently. Liked it. I think I watched it about a year or two ago. Uncut Gems, I rewatched a few months ago with Alexis. Thought that was excellent. Great movie. But I think my favorite Sandler movie is, what was the other one I was thinking of? 50 First Dates is also good. Haven't seen Wedding Singers. It's gotta be Happy Gilmore. Now you're gonna get it, Bobby. Daniel said, it's popping and it's lopping. I don't know why that's hilarious, but it is. No one knows what I mean, but it's provocative. It gets the people going. Oh, what is that from? Is that from Adam Sandler? Is that from Happy Gilmore? What is that from? I forget. That sounds familiar. Isn't that a Ben Stiller quote? I forget. Please let me know, Daniel. That's going to bother me. Richie said my review of Elm Street Diner, which is where we went when I saw Richie a few weeks ago. It was great. Really enjoyed the vibe. Thought the food was great. Gave you a lot of fucking food. The free donuts they give you when you get there was a cool gimmick. I've never seen that before. Very much enjoyed it. 10 out of 10 would go again. So thank you for the recommendation, Richie, on Elm Street Diner. Well, actually, we had first seen it on TikTok. And then we told you about it. We were going to go with you when we first went to Stanford a few years ago, back in 2021. We did not end up going to Stanford. And that's another one. We finally finished the story. Took us 4 years, but we finally made it there with you, and we thoroughly enjoyed it. It was a great day. Fernando said, T-bone or ribeye? Gonna be honest with you, don't know the fucking difference. So I don't know. Let's go ribeye. I like steak, but I'm typically not the one making the steak, so I can't fucking accurately answer that question. Psycho said, have you seen any Alfred Hitchcock films? I'm sure I have. I'm sure I did for movie class. I had to take a movie class in college, a film class. I definitely watched an Alfred Hitchcock movie in part of that class. Hold on, let me Google it. I gotta go, but we're still fucking here. We're still here, man. This is ridiculous. Let's see. What did he do? Psycho. Okay, I've seen Psycho. Rear Window. Alexis just showed that to me, I think earlier this year. North by Northwest, she's talked about the movie before. She likes that movie. So I've seen Psycho and I've seen Rear Window. I've seen that. I'm looking through the other movies that he's done to see if I've seen anything else. I watched Psycho as part of that film class, so I was right on that. I watched Rosebud, or whatever the fuck that was. Not Casablanca, whatever it's called. That's not a Hitchcock film, though, I don't think. Yeah, so, favorite Hitchcock film, I guess, is Psycho. Although Rear Window was good, too, when we watched that earlier this year. Let's see. Emmanuel's taking off. Emmanuel, thanks for joining. Great to see you in the chat. Thank you for joining as always. Hope you have a good day, my man. Johnny said, have I tried Jersey Mike's or Jimmy John's? I have tried both. I went to Chicago for Money in the Bank 2018 and TakeOver that same weekend. And I had an extra ticket that I gave to a friend of mine through Twitter who went with me. And he paid me back, which was, I told him you don't have to pay me anything for the ticket. He goes, let me at least buy you food. So he took me to Jimmy John's. I don't know if I've been back since, but it was good. He bought me Jimmy John's, and it was very good. I prefer Jersey Mike's. Subway is just easier for me, but Jersey Mike's is a little too fancy. Like their prices they're way more expensive. They're definitely better than Subway. Jersey Mike's is better quality. Subway's cheaper, and I don't really care too much about the quality, so I just fucking go to Subway. But Jersey Mike's is great. I got Jersey Mike's just recently. I think I bought it on the anniversary of Money in the Bank 2011, back in July. I was watching Money in the Bank. I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. Let's order Uber Eats. And I got Jersey Mike's. I got 2 sandwiches on a deal for the price of 1. Fuck yeah. Abu Sika, what's going on, brother? He said, hi, WrestleRant. You're joining here at the very end, but great to see you in the chat, Abu Sika. Hope you're doing well. Winter Soldier or Civil War? Good question, Johnny. Winter Soldier. That's the better movie. Civil War is good. Winter Soldier is definitely a better movie. Have you tried those WWE ice cream bars? LOL. Not only have I tried them, Maria, I reviewed them here over the channel. That would have been a lot of you guys when you joined the channel, but go back and search my channel for WWE ice cream bar reviews. Alexis is also in that video. We're sitting in my car, her car, someone's fucking car, and we got the ice cream bars from a local Stop and Shop or a fucking Mart or something, and Whole Foods or something, I don't know. And we tried them, and they were decent. They were okay. Didn't buy them again after that, but they were good. They were good ice cream bars. I bought a couple boxes, actually. So there is actually a review of us eating ice cream here on the channel. As weird as that sounds, search it up. You can find the video. Criminal Minds or Law & Order? Probably Law & Order. Isn't Criminal Minds a Law & Order spinoff or something? Law & Order I wouldn't watch religiously, but whenever it was on USA Network, I would leave it on and watch the first couple minutes to see what would happen and then maybe stay hooked for the rest of the episode. But I think they're both good shows, though. Daniel said, Blades, fuck. The chat fucked up again. Hold on. Give me a sec. Connect streaming software. Hold on. Give me a second here. Give me a second. All right. I think it disconnected again. If it disconnected for you guys, I apologize. I'm going to leave here in a second, but I'm not going to leave that abruptly. If it disconnected, I apologize. If you guys can hear me, please let me know in the chat. We're going to wrap up here in a minute, but anyway. Oh, Daniel Malcolm. Yeah, Daniel said, Blades of Glory. Then they used it in the song, in the Jazz Kanye song, Ninjas in Paris. Yes, I have not seen Blades of Glory in a long time. Blades of Glory is a very funny fucking movie. It's provocative. We don't know what it means, but it's provocative. And that movie's fucking hilarious. Reggie said, a local band somehow ended up getting booked to perform at Denny's, a viral video from a few years ago. I sent you the clip. Okay, I'll check it out in a little bit. I just saw that you texted me. I'll have to check it out. That is so fucking funny. Ended up getting booked at Denny's. That is hilarious. Dunkin' Donuts or Krispy Kreme? Dunkin' Donuts. I don't go to Krispy Kreme a ton, but it's fine. I prefer Dunkin' Donuts. Krispy Kreme is probably, again, same thing, probably better quality, but I get Dunkin' Donuts a lot more, so definitely Dunkin'. I'll take Dunkin' over Starbucks. I really don't. I'll get Starbucks. I really don't care about Starbucks. Too fancy for me, and I like the hot chocolate at Dunkin' Donuts more, even though it's probably garbage. Did I enjoy Peacemaker? Yes, the season so far has been great. It's not over yet, but it's been fucking awesome. I think it's been better than the first season. I'm looking forward to this week's episode. Heard it's crazy. And Fernando said, still with me. Thank you, Fernando, for saying that. He also said The Birds. I have not seen The Birds. I know it's a Hitchcock film. And roast beef or turkey sub, absolutely turkey sub. I'm a big turkey guy. I love chicken. Chicken's my number one. Turkey would probably be 2 for me. Love turkey. Turkey subs are great. I've been eating turkey my entire fucking life. Roast beef's good. I like roast beef. It's fine. Turkey to me is a lot better. I like that a lot more. On that note, guys, we are so fucking late here. We are over 3 hours in. This has been a crazy stream. This is longer than every episode of Raw from the last 15 years, which is insane. Or most episodes of Raw, I should say. This has been a lot of fun. I appreciate all the activity in the chat. Did I say Jazz, not Jay-Z? Hold on. What was your comment? Hold on. Well, I read it looked like your comment. You didn't put J.Z. I don't know why I said Jazz Kanye. I'm sorry. It is Jay-Z, yes. My nickname is Fancy Man. Of course, I'm the fanciest man there is. Listen, I know who Jay-Z is, okay, Abu Sika and Daniel? Listen, I did call it Jazz by accident, and I apologize. Okay, we've been here for 3 fucking hours, okay? You can't blame me. But anyway, guys, this has been a lot of fun. I got to get out of here. Shout out once again to the channel members, Alexis, Miss Mod Matthews, Dillon, DiGiacomo, Mrs. Renee, DJ Swerve 1, Daniel Malcolm, RJ Marceau, John Ritland, Richie, and Average Grunt. Plugged all their stuff earlier. Check them out. They're great folks. More information on how to become a channel member down below in the description box to get shout-outs and early ad-free access to certain videos and so much more. More information on that down below. If you want to send in a question to the show, tweet me on the Twitter machine at WrestleRant with the hashtag AskGSM. Find me on Facebook as well, facebook.com/Graham.gsm.Matthews. Drop a comment on the post. I usually put up on Monday nights, if not on the wall itself. And last but certainly not least, after the video is done processing, drop your comment or question down below in the comment section on this very video to be included in next week's edition. And if you just want to support the show, give the video an old thumbs up on your way out, or if you're watching after the fact, and be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell to be notified every single time we go live here on the channel and every single time we upload new content. Should be live again for WrestleRant Radio on Thursday with Mr. Marceau. Keep an eye out for that. And we'll be back here on Tuesday next week for another edition of hashtag AskGSM episode 618. And I'll also be doing my Halloween Horror Nights Wyatt 6 Haunted House review. Very likely coming up on Sunday, so keep an eye out for that and all the other content that goes up here on the channel on a daily basis. So with all that being said, folks, thank you to everyone joining us live here on the show that joined us earlier. Richie, Johnny, Fernando, Daniel, Abu Sika, Basaiko, everybody. Alexis was here earlier. Emmanuel, Grunt, a whole bunch of people. Maria, appreciate you all. Thank you so much. I missed everyone. I missed a bunch of other people, but Cupcake dropping the $10 super chat. Thank you again. I appreciate that. Hope to see you guys on a future stream. So, Fernando, great fun stream today. I appreciate that, Fernando. Thank you. We'll see you on Thursday. Richie said later, Graham, later, y'all, later, Jazz and Kanye. Oh, God. Oh, God. I'll never live that one down. All right, folks. Have a great one. I'll catch your ass down the road.